Nah, I was out the door with baggage and I acted with my luggage.
All right, honey. Good night. Thank you. I miss this curse.
Boom, 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 boom.
Oh my God, this boy is gonna try to rape her. That's what I'm saying.
Bullshit.
Supposed to be evaluated too.
Yeah, always.
But they do, but
Gotta start off with my boy Pop. Yo, what it do, family? In the land of the living, the land of the free. Coming back for everything you owe. That's that Pop. This is how it is, no friends. That's my jam, y'all. That's my jam. That's one of my jams. I want y'all to hear this intro, then we're gonna get started. We're gonna get started. I'm just waiting for my tea. Waiting for my tea. Let y'all hear this intro. Tell me how you like this. Listen to this right quick. And we out of here. We're gonna get started. Tell me, do you like this little intro? And is it still relevant? Some is, some not.
Smell the blood and wants to eat, and it'll come and lick the blade when the wolf licks the blade, of course, he cuts his tongue and he bleeds and he thinks he's really having a good thing. He drinks and he licks, and of course he's drinking his own blood and he kills himself. That's what the imperialists did to us with crack cocaine. You got these young brothers out there thinking that they're getting something that they're gonna make a living with. They're getting something they can buy a car like the white people have cars. Why can't I have a car? They get something so they can get a piece of gold. The white people have gold. Why can't I have gold? They getting something to get a house. The white people have a house. Why can't I have a house? And they actually think that it's something that's bringing resources to them, but they're killing themselves just like the wolf who's licking the blade, and they're slowly dying without knowing. That's what's happening to the community. You with me on that? That's exactly and precisely what happens to the community. And instead of blaming the hunter who put the damn handles and the blades in the ice for the wolf, then what happens is the wolf gets blamed for trying to live. That's what happens in our community. You don't blame the person, the victim, you blame the oppressor. Imperialism, white power is the enemy. Was the enemy when it first came to Africa, snatched up the first African, brought us here against our will, is the enemy today. That's the thing that we have to understand.
All right. Just a little motivation. Hope everybody having an amazing start or into your day. Because in the world, it's different times in a lot of places. Some places it's the same time. That tea is so good. That tea is so good. But, as I said, I'm always come on here to fill my database. And when I'm gone, I'll be known for my works. You know? So, that's how I feel about it. And I feel great about everything. But I want to talk about some things today. Some things we may have known. Some things we might not have known. But let's see, can I find something for you? Okay, that's the declaration. That's the declaration. I want to read something to y'all. On some history. Especially it's good for our children. It's relevant for everything today. Why people got us on civil rights, and to have anything civil rights, it have to come from something. And when I tell people about human rights and nationality, it's the order of every day. And this order is it's something old. When I tell brothers and sisters that's Moors and they talk about they Moroccans and this and that and the other, and I say, well, I hear you saying that, but I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American. My family are Americans. I get the concept of everybody from Africa per se. I get that. But you can't let nobody tell you who you are and your family lineage. Because a lot of the stuff is just made up Negrocentric and Eurocentric propaganda, as I've been showing. But historically, family, for the record, I'm going to give a brief history of human rights. And maybe it's not even from the perspective that you think. I'm going to go back. Like how the old school songs say, let me take you back, way back, and show you that this was always about freedom. And when you are Moorish American and you talking about you don't want to be American and you want to expatriate from this so-called de facto government, sir or ma'am or whatever you call yourself, then you are a what? A domestic terrorist, foreign and abroad. Your goofy butt don't have no allegiance with no one. You're an American. Have anybody ever heard of the Cypress Cylinder? 539 BC. I'm going to give you a little academia. I said I'm going to be illuminating stuff that I've lectured on the college campus when I say the elite know this. The elite I'm talking about the talented 10th. I'm not talking about the other man. I'm talking about the brothers and sisters that look like me, that's from academia, that did advanced studies, that did advanced studies, and my brothers and sisters that's part of other organizations that teach what I'm teaching. And they make millions of this. I'm bringing something to my brothers and sisters, and I want you to know this historicalness. So when a person say human rights, it's always been about who you are. The decrees Cyrus made on human rights were inscribed in the Akkadian language on a baked clay cylinder. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In 539 BC, the armies of Cyrus the Great, the first king of ancient Persia, conquered the city of Babylon. But it was his next actions that marked a major advance for man. He freed slaves, declared that all people had the right to choose their own religion, and established racial equality. These and other decrees were recorded on a baked clay cylinder in the Akkadian language with cuneiform script. Remember I always talk about cuneiform script? Known today as the Cyrus cylinder. The ancient record has now been recognized as one of the world's first characters of human rights. It is translated into 6 official languages of the United Nations, and its provisions parallel the first 4 articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. See? And the spread of human rights. From Babylon, the ideal of human rights spread quickly to India, Greece, and Rome. The concept of natural law arose, an observation of the fact that people tended to follow certain unwritten laws in the course of life. And the Roman law was based on rational ideas derived from the nature of things, when we just stand in context. Documents asserting individual rights, such as the Magna Carta per se, 1215, the Petition of Rights, 1628, the U.S. Constitution, 1787, the French Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen, 1789, and the U.S. Bill of Rights, 1791, are written precursors to many of today's human rights, especially when I talk about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness by Charles A. Wiseman. I'm going to show you that. That's going to be my sum up for you. When I tell you these things, you should know this stuff. It's very important. So when I talk about the first declaration, when people be saying, well, especially when I say currently the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, every brother and sister should know that. But the first Declaration of Human Rights by Cyrus the Great, inscribed in cuneiform on a clay cylinder, discovered in 1879, now displayed in the British Museum. Here you go right here. Here you go right here, family. It's right here in your face. And when they say discovered, let me tell you this, nothing to discover. You might, when they bring it to common man or regular society, when they want to make it public, you can say that. Because this stuff ain't just been discovered. Why? Because you done had Tomb Raiders. They done made movies about Tomb Raiders. Hell, you had Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. What were they doing? They were Tomb Raiders. You have movies of Tomb Raiders. They wasn't in Europe going nowhere, raiding nothing. Come on now. So let me read a little bit of it. The first Declaration of Human Rights by Cyrus the Great, inscribed in cuneiform on a clay cylinder, discovered in 1879. Now it's displayed in the British Museum. Cyrus the Great, 585-529 BC, the Iranian emperor, defined the first Declaration of Human Rights on this cylinder. Cyrus is admired more as a liberator than a conqueror for his vast empire because of his respect of human rights and humane treatment of those he ruled. He is anointed in the Bible, Isaiah 45:4. This when I be telling people, I say, come on, all this stuff, you can find all this stuff in Scripture as a liberator of God's people, Isaiah 45:15. And the chosen one, Isaiah 48:14-15. Even professors at Harvard, when I show y'all Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness by Charles A. Wiseman, Charles A. Wiseman wrote a plethora of books. This is studied in Oxford, Harvard, Cambridge. That's why when I be telling my brothers and sisters, when I try to bring something back to them, what happens is it makes you stand straight up and say some of the stuff that you thought is just not valid lawfully. Because slavery, per se, was legal. So, I hope we caught that. But surely the concept of one world, the fusion of peoples and cultures into oneness, was one of his important legacies. The following from the ancient cylinder are the rendition of the spirit of his message in modern English. I declare that I will respect the tradition, customs, and religions of the nations of my empire, and never let any of my governors to look down or insult the inhabitants of my nations. I hereby abolish slavery. My governors I order to prohibit exchanging men and women as slaves within their ruling domains. Such a tradition should be exterminated exterminated the world over. If any oppresses others, should it happen, I will take her right back and penalize the oppressor. Today I declare the freedom of religion. All are free to choose any religion, live in all regions, and take up any job, provided that they never violate others' rights. These proclamations ring true today in our times, as they did in 538 BC. House of Iran. Now, this is what I ask my brothers and sisters. This is the only place where you have religious freedoms. Where the United States of America, like, some stuff, people just be upset and arguing and mad for things they have no reason to even be, upset. Because a lot of things our brothers and sisters don't even really know. And don't even know why they upset, Isn't that something? Or don't even know, or don't even understand the true history of science and law and doing things. Like, anybody ever heard of the phrase introspective? Introspective and self-interpretation. And let me grab something. Have anybody ever heard of introspection? You?
Introspection.
Introspection. Right here, sir.
Introspection. The examination or observation of one's own mental and emotional process.
Mm-hmm. Yep, honey. So, introspection. Introspection. Write that word down.
I hate Miss Ford.
And self-interpretation. And then I'm going to give you a little preface of Charles A. Wiseman, and we're going to wrap it up. But introspection is a process by which people have focused access to their own mental states. We have access, of course, to all our conscious states. Since mental states, being conscious in the first place means, in part, that one is conscious of that state. That's better. That we are conscious of all our conscious states is evident from the fact that if one is altogether unaware of a state, that state does not count as a conscious state. But our introspective access to a mental state is something more than that state's simply being conscious. Access to a state is distinctively introspective only when it is deliberate, attentive, and reflective. Access to a state is distinctively introspective only when it is deliberate, attentive, and reflective. It is sometimes held that all mental states are introspectable, that is, subject to introspective access. But there are two distinct ways to understand this claim, which are not always distinguished. When we introspect a state, we attend to it in respect of its mental properties, its intentional content, and mental attitude in the case of intentional states, as its sensory modality and qualitative properties in the case of sensory states. So what we're saying is mental states are the right kind of states to be subject of introspective awareness. And we can readily imagine introspecting any state that has these mental properties. You see? This is what should be taught to kids and babies. We want and our even our brothers and sisters use that mental to get the real science, to get the real, how can I say it, inner meaning of the Bible, the esotericness of the Bible. Because we had religion and all that stuff forever. Many mental states occur without being conscious, So I just want us to have a little understanding of that. But the perpetual model, introspection gives us conscious access to our mental states. But what sort of process or mechanism is responsible for that access? Because see, it's some variables. For order to this happen, this must happen. Okay, for your car to cut on, it needs a battery. See, these are things that we can agree on. That's universal. But what sort of process or mechanism is responsible for that conscious access? So what I'm saying, the consciousness is there for everybody. But what sort of process or mechanism is responsible for that conscious access? Let me give you an analogy or a pictorial of conscious access. Now, I didn't say good or bad, because that pendulum depends on the degree. But that level, what type of consciousness, when you operate on the right level, it's a good consciousness. When you operate on the lower level, it's a so-called bad consciousness. Why? Because when you're ready to do something crazy, that's still a form of consciousness. When you're ready to go kill, that's a form of consciousness. I'm talking about doing harm. I'm talking about doing harm. I ain't talking about nothing else. I'm talking about doing harm to what? Your fellow man, your fellow brother. When I say we are not each other's enemies, that's what I'm talking about. Everything else, I can care less. I'm talking about us as a people. Sometimes people may say introspection is a kind of inner sense or inner perception of our mental states. But this perpetual model, which reflects the very etymology of introspect, from the Latin spicer or sphere, to look, and intra, within, derives considerably plausibility from the idea that introspecting is a kind of internal monitoring, or how can I say checking, but monitoring of one's mental states. Just as extroceptive perception monitors the external environment, and proprioception monitors the positions and movements of our limbs, and introspection performs a parallel monitoring function of the contents of our mind. And we know of no organ that subserves introspection in the way the eye subserves the transduction of visual information and the ear auditory information. But this is hardly decisive. What I'm saying is there might well be some relatively modular portion of the brain that subserve introspective monitoring by being sensitive to the occurrence of consciousness and mental states. But even if that is the case, not all perceiving proceeds by way of such organs or proprioceptions or propositions or proprioceptions. What I'm saying is dedicated organs per se. So all those form of perception intuitively have so little in common that one might well wonder what is the virtue of which we could and how we count all of these as kinds of perceiving. It's some tools that's necessary. Two can be specific. One is that all three involve the monitoring of some process or condition. The other is that they all seem to proceed by way of some kind of qualitative property that reflects the state or condition being monitored. See, this is how when we say in more science, the tools in a toolbox, there is in each case a distinctive state whose very qualitative character serves to carry the relevant information. So I don't want to stay too deep in that. I just wanted to give a little highlight of that, because you got introspective and non-introspective consciousness. You may say, what was that? What is that? Sheik, I never heard of that. Well, a mental state's being introspectively conscious differs from the way in which mental states ordinarily are conscious in everyday life, per se. A state is introspectively conscious only when one is conscious of it in an attentive, deliberate, focused way. I'll give an analogy. Let's talk about basic consciousness. We'll make it right. Man, you can look in this mirror every day. Your stomach bigger than all outdoors. When I say bigger than all outdoors, all outdoors. But in your mental, in your consciousness, in your essence, in your mind every day, you know some things can change. You know you need to in your consciousness. But you must be attentive to that. See, that's very, very simple. So we can know what we need to do, but are we attentive to that? Deliberate focus in that context. Whereas states are non-introspectively conscious when our awareness of them is relatively casual. Fleeting, diffuse, and inattentive. The consciousness state that makes up one's visual field at any particular moment. Think of that. Though all consciousness, none of these states is typically subject to the focused, deliberate attention characteristics of introspection. This is even true, and this is true even for states that occur in the center of our visual field, in our pineal, when we have foveal vision. These states have far more fine-grained detail and greater resolution than others, but still typically occur without benefit of introspective scrutiny. See, this is universal. Similarly, or in synchronicity, or kind of same for our sensory input, for the other sensory model, those different forms, both extroceptive and bodily. So these is some things that we should know. Conscious intentional states are also seldom introspected. This is elementary wisdom for our youth. I'm trying to tell you what I know. One might, for example, be considering what to do on a particular occasion, and thus having a series of thoughts and desires, many of them conscious, but it is rare in so doing that one will pause to introspect any of these conscious thoughts or desires. So introspecting is not just being conscious of a mental state, it is being conscious of it in a deliberate, focused, reflective way. You see? So distinction between conscious states we introspect and those we do not is often overlooked. I just want us to see the degree of these things. Introspecting a state is not perpetual, so it must instead involve one's having a thought that the effect, here we go again with the 7 Kemetic principles, that the effect that one is in that state. I want us to just have that pictorial in our hippocampus, because I don't want to stay too long in that. I only got a little bit of time. I got a guess for 5 days. How many, Empress? You hear me? How many days? 5. You don't hear me, do you? Nothing. In a whole nother land over there, nothing. And since we aren't aware of these things, sometimes we don't know. It's a thing called the hypothesis, about the non-introspective consciousness. It's very likely the only credible way to explain how a state's being non-introspectively conscious is weaker than the introspective, but stronger than a state's not being conscious at all. So I don't want to stay too far in that, because I'm setting a precedent of wisdom and understanding. Like even in the ancient so-called days in the pyramids, they wasn't in there just talk about no hallelujah. These were mystery schools. They was learning of the mind, different crafts. That's why I ask people, are you really conscious of your mental states with the S? When a state is conscious. So that means when a state, is it plural states in this context? Yes. Whether introspectively or not, one is conscious of being in that state. Such states differ from those which are not conscious, since in those cases, one is not conscious of that state. When I always talk about a person's degree or something, is still a level of consciousness, because that's where they at with their understanding. Now, where the light comes in, if they can be raised up in some of the things that they say that they understand or want to understand. If not, you have to walk over that. And that's wisdom. At least not in the seemingly immediate way characteristic of conscious states. The difference between introspective and non-introspective consciousness then is due to a difference in how we are conscious of states in the two kinds of cases, or the two kinds of a case. So these is things you keep in your head when a person says, do you have any questions? You should have questions about the mind. If it's something being revealed to you that you may never heard, and you may think it's a different craft, and then when a person starts breaking words down that's synonymous, and say, then you can start understanding and connecting dots per se by the mind. It's always about the mental. It's always about the Sophia. It's always about the wisdom in this context of wisdom. And it can be traced to all that. And when the mental state is conscious, whether introspectively or not, one is conscious of being in that state. But we are never conscious of our conscious states perpetually. You see that? This when I talk about the mind, your mind, my mind, these are the things that we should be talking about. It's like if one had an experience of a red tomato, for example, one could come to be aware that one has that experience. What? Of seeing a red tomato. And one would be aware of the property the experience has of representing the redness of the tomato. You'll be able to explain that. And if it is a visual experience of a red tomato, the experience will represent that redness in a way unlike the way of a non-perpetual thought might represent that redness. What am I saying? You seeing something and you just hearing something per se will give you a different type of representation of that explanation. Just imagine if you was there and you saw, okay, I'll give you another idea. Somebody in court and they say, yeah, I was a witness, I was there, and then come to the fact you wasn't even there. But you explained something you heard, but the person was there. That person was there is going to have a different explanation per se. And I'm just putting it in the flesh as the Bible is, because the Bible is written in analogy and parable. So I just put that whole pictorial in a visual. Non-perpetual thoughts represent redness simply by being about that color, whereas visual experience represents it in a distinctively qualitative way. So when one is aware of having an experience of a red tomato per se, one is aware of that experience representing the what? The redness in that distinctively qualitative way. These is things that you can't deny when we talk about subjective and objective. You know? I can go deeper with that. Like, I'll give an analogy like this. A visual experience of the redness of a tomato is not red in the way the tomato is per se, but that does not preclude it having some mental quality, distinct from the red of the tomato, but characteristic of the visual sensation we have when we see red objects in standard conditions of illumination. What are you saying, She? Okay, mental qualities are unlike the predictable qualities of physical objects in several ways. For one thing, they are properties of states rather than objects. Equally important, they are not what? Perceptible. We do not come to be aware of them by perceiving them. So the question of whether we might be perceptually aware of our perceptual experiences and their qualitative properties seems indeed to arise only because of the misconception about mental qualitative properties. Only if mental qualities resemble the perceptible properties of physical objects in being literally perceptible could one suppose that we might be perceptually aware of them. So all this wisdom of what? Your brain, these different awarenesses, these different levels of consciousness. It's so much. It's so powerful. And so when I speak about these, as I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, showing all different crafts, showing different mental states, showing you the introspection and self-interpretation. Whenever one is conscious of something, one is conscious of that thing in some respect. This is so whether one is conscious of something perceptually or by having a thought about it as being present. One never perceives or thinks about anything in respect of every aspect of the thing. I hope you caught what I said. This applies to be introspectively conscious of one's mental states. A mental states with the S being conscious, whether introspectively or not, consists in one's being conscious of that state that you're in. I'll give you an analogy. A person get drunk as hell. So when they get drunk as hell, they know what state they in. How? Because that's a level of consciousness. You see? So the respects in which one is conscious of, it will determine how the state presents itself to consciousness. I just told y'all that mirror ain't gonna give you a false picture. That mirror just a reflection of what you see, and then the reflection of what you see and how you feel. The mirror don't know how you feel about yourself when you look at it. The state will be conscious in these respects and not in others. That's wisdom. That's wisdom. I can go on and on about different objects and shapes, and if I see something red all the time, but I don't want to stay too far in that, you know? I just want to show you the power of the mind and then the power of understanding who you are. When we talk about humanhood or personhood and the unity of consciousness, mental functioning is a necessary condition, but plainly not sufficient for a creature to be a person. I like to say a human, because many animals that fall short of being persons nonetheless function mentally, sometimes in fairly elaborate ways, right? Nor is being in mental states that are conscious by itself sufficient to be a human or a person per se. It is likely that creatures such as higher mammals are in many conscious states without being humans or persons. Human beings are the only terrestrial so-called animals we know of that qualify as humans. Some people say persons, whatever, but in that context, we're not being specific right now. But I'm gonna say humans. But being a human is plainly not the same as being a person. I'm just saying. But being a person is plainly not the same as being human. And see, that's a whole nother conversation. But when you get in scholarship and peer-reviewed scholarly research, if we gonna have to agree. And people can have their own belief system. I'm not here to argue one-on-one with that. But if you tell a person, let's do the scholarship, let's do the history and the historicalness of it, then it's gonna be an agreement. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. But it's another topic that I want to share as we get into the end of what we're trying to get. I always bring things back to my brothers and sisters, and I'm an open door for my brothers and sisters to learn. Like I said, I have a full library of over 1 million books and documents. I share my information with brothers and sisters. I would love for brothers to do business with us. Check our bookstore out and stuff, and hit me up before you may spend hundreds of dollars on paper. I have access to a plethora of wisdom and documents and manuscripts. But I talk about some things that a lot of people be saying, what we don't need no more. And I love more science. I love all that. But a lot of stuff I talk about trumps that, because our prophet brought something back to the people. If our prophet Noble Drew Ali brought something back to the people, that means something was already there. And our prophet didn't make nothing up. He showed you who you are and the laws and the religious rights and XYZ and so on and ETC. But even before that, this stuff is written, because how could our prophet Noble Drew Ali bring something back to our remembrance and resurrect us if it wasn't something that was already there? If it wasn't something that anybody, no matter what color they are, can pull up. Especially when I talk about academia, I've been showing this. This is what I've been trying to show my brothers and sisters. This is there. The thing when people say, oh, this hidden from us, and I say, well, who hid something from you? That's all you got to tell me. Because see, I don't got that story with all these brothers that be on here complaining about the white man and the devil per se. I said, they ain't got that much power. But when you say, who hid something from you? I say, well, tell me who hid something from you. Who, your mama? Your daddy? Who? Your auntie? Who hid something from you? When people say, well, they hid something from us. And I say, they ain't hid nothing from us. We just don't have our organizations of truth seekers like myself and others that's been through the fire, that have the same education like those that you may call a gatekeeper and all that. Because that ain't nothing. And so I always ask my brothers and sisters when they be making these videos with all this spookism and talk about, oh, man, this, that, and the other, and this going to happen and that going to happen with the spookism. No, it's not. You got all these people talking about religion. And that's what happened doing so-called the Coco, when in 2000, when everybody was able to sit at home and watch TV and watch YouTube and follow all these different characters and talk about some fake aliens, the Anunnaki sitting on some cloud, talk about some whole fake stuff instead of telling people true history, because they know a group of people can be easily what? Convinced. How? Because all through history you wanted to grab on to something. And they knew that they can separate us by putting us in splinter groups. And that's what happened in the United States a lot in 2000 when the so-called Coco came out. You know what the Coco is. The pandemic. The pandemic. And everybody started acting crazy. Everybody started choosing. And I said, it's only one history. It's only one law. I've been showing you in all walks of religion. All these brothers know this history. And the history of being Moors and all that stuff. And the ancient history of it. And then if you don't like that, research Amazigians. But out of all these things I'll be talking about, out of all these so-called PhDs in African American studies, out of all these brothers and sisters that make these videos, out of all these conferences, they had Carnell West, who T.I., I think they had Tavis Smiley, They had all these brothers on there. Now, all these educated men, right? Far as Dr. Carnell West, Tavis Smiley was supposed to be educated. I don't know what T.I. do. I know he a rapper and all that, but that don't mean he's not knowledgeable of certain topics. You know, you had some other brothers on there, and then you had a whole panel, and you had some college students there too in the crowd, I'm sure. So, what I'm saying is, how come nobody in that whole time, no student, this is the hypocrisy, and what I be trying to figure out, and my empress be like, well, babe, why they don't say nothing? How do you know all this? I said, babe, they have to know this. My dad is an elder. My dad getting ready to be 80. My dad was like, yeah, I thought religion was going to be something for the misnomer black man, but son, you right. And I said, I know I am. It's our nationality and our spirituality once we understand it. But why none of these people, I'm like, are these people getting paid to woe us to sleep? I'm just, when you start just thinking about things with your own mental, you're like, okay, well, wait a minute now. Because now we talking about PhDs that taught at Harvard, and they still use the vernacular of black. The black man is, and the black man is, and the black man is. And these people are educated. I'm talking about in African American studies. How? With no disrespect. How? And according to science and law, black means deaf. Negro, black, and colored, and African American is all synonymous to straight up slave. Straight up slave. So how can all our scholars, all our educated brothers, all our brothers that say they got a law degree and all this stuff, why no one is saying this, but still saying Black Lives Matters, and in the same breath say they down with reparations? Come on now, people. This is what I say. Is the tea on still? Want to turn that tea down when you come out? That and that's what I ask my brothers and sisters. And when a person comes, it's just like no matter how many letters you have behind your name, if you were in the court of law with someone that's gonna judge, a referee that's gonna say, okay, come with the facts and prove your plight of who you are, you know. And all these other people would educate that elders, with all due respect, a lot of them are Freemasons. A lot of them have signed a letter to not tell the truth. That's just what it is. A lot of them are in Greek fraternities. But I'm telling you what I'm saying. If all those brothers that's before me and elders that's been in the civil rights movement and all that, and a lot of these brothers that's alive, and a lot of these brothers that's educated, no matter what religious groups they part of, why in the heezy for sheezy we ain't talking about these things, this constitutional law, to make us a people? When they act like, oh, what should we call ourselves? You know, what should we call what? Moorish Americans. What's your nationality? Moorish American. What's your race? We agree on Asiatic. What's your status? Free white. That's it. We wasting our time talking about somebody else. We wasting our time talking about where this person come from and some stupid $5 Indians. That's wasted conversation. That's wasted consciousness. We are wasting consciousness and wasting energy. How? Talking about somebody else. I told y'all distractions. When that conscious community stuff came out, it was popular. People trying to hustle people with ID cards and nationalize, and I said, that ain't the way. You can go back to my YouTube videos from years. I've been saying the same thing, and I'm still here. All them brothers that was in China and all that, doing all that fake, they all gone. Most of the brothers, they some Moroccan government or some Moroccan president, all get locked up. They come out with the same rhetoric. And these brothers still on welfare, the women on welfare, and Section 8. This is facts. So none of this stuff is meaningless. A lot of stuff be rhetoric. Nobody care about no drivers. They come with some driver's book. And trying to explain that. Like, you see this? That ain't got nothing to do with more science. Some driver's book, some state booklet for the driving. That's why I be telling people, I said, man, why are we teaching people how to be criminals? Why are we not teaching people who we are? And that's it. Anything else, you should have a specific expertise like I do and others do. And that don't have to do nothing with you teaching more science. That just have to do with you teaching what's been written. And so, once again, if all these brothers is professors and PhDs and at Harvard professors, all these brothers when I'm telling you why nobody never talked about the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, when they have all these college students and Tavis Smiley and who else? Who else I said, babe? I forget the dude that worked at Harvard. Cornel West. Yeah. Why they don't talk about it? Why they don't talk about all these things to say, wait a minute. Why they don't talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? The same things that these, no disrespect, European, Albion, Trinidad, so-called Jewish belief kids, when they go to school and they take civics classes, this is what they learn. To keep you subjugated. The same thing good old Abe did. Good old Abe said, hell, it wasn't his choice to, if it was up to him, he'd keep the so-called white man on top and keep the slave a slave. If it was up to him. I'm telling you, man. And there's so much other stuff. Abraham defended them more in court. That's why I'm telling y'all, you have to know this stuff. So when we talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, this is from a book entitled From Charles A. Wiseman. You can see, could you find it on Amazon, see how much it costs. Let's see, can I find it on Amazon? Because we teach it. I showed y'all yesterday how much all them books cost. That's why I tell us we lost due to a lack of knowledge. And I'm going to continue to say that. We lost. Let me see, can I find it? One of my homies like, it ain't there, Sheik. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, this one right here. Oh, damn. Look how much it is. Look how much this one is, y'all. When I show people this one, it's $551. Why? Why would you think that? Why would you think that book $551? Yesterday I showed books. One book yesterday I showed was $3,000. You know, we print them and bind them, or you know, I converted so many books to PDFs. That's why when I talk to college students that be hitting me up and I sell books to, at ebooks or I print them and bind them, they be so happy because they study this, and they Masonic houses and stuff, and they frat house, they study this. They have real study hall. They ain't in there playing and all that all the time. Especially the European Mason, they study you. If they didn't study you, why you think they dress like you? Why you think they feds got all your wisdom on it? I'm telling you, man. And then your tassel pinned down. I'm telling you, man. $551. And then on Amazon, it's one in stock. It's a used one. $551. So I ask everybody, you should ask yourself, what's in that book to where it's $551? That's a good question. So I always tell people through all my connections and dealing with professors and writing people when I was in school and being in the library all night, I've gotten all the lesson plans of every book of Charles A. Wiseman. I got all his books, all the collection. I've lectured this. I got other books on a trustee on arrest and false imprisonment. When people be saying, when you hear these Moors on videos be trying to make money off people, and they say, oh, we don't need that no more, we don't need that no more. And then I said, are you teaching Moorish science, or are you teaching Roger Elvick, sovereign citizen militia crap? They stuttering. And then I pull out the state booklet, how the temple was set up. Then I pull out the letter from the CCRD telling them that 1099 ain't no trust fund at the Rainbow. It ain't nothing but a religious affidavit. Well, can I talk to you in private? No. Let's keep talking live with everyone for your rhetoric and your sovereign citizen, which is an oxymoron. Your Roger Elvick criminal behavior will be exposed. Because none of that stuff is Moorish science. None, zero. And when you have these people talking about freedoms, they're not going to talk about what I'm telling you. If this book, Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness, is $551 on Amazon, and I speak about this, and I lecture this, and I'm telling you I have all these documents and a lesson plan, and all the books that he made, and I print and bind, that should be opening light bulbs in your hippocampus. And I say all college students on different universities, they have access to this stuff. It's available in the library. Where? Sitting right on the shelf as regular books. Russian Icon by Vladimir Ivanov. Melanin, The Chemical Key to Black Greatness. All those books that I showed yesterday, they are sitting in all these how can I say it, advanced universities, and most of them have Gnostic libraries in the basement. I'm telling you. So here it is. It's books on Amazon. They sell it for $551 as I showed, and students have access to it. And here it is. Your brother have the same access to it, and this is what they teach. I'm telling you, a group of people ain't in it to be all no religious and happy that. They into things for what? Power. This is what I tell people. Power to the people. Power to the people. You want power? What? All type of power. I ain't say you want power to hurt no one and break nobody's face. And that's what's scary to the other man. That's what's scary to the other man. How? Because they feel it was always death of the black Messiah. Because the power that be and the other men feel when brothers and sisters come together under universal wisdom, they may feel that the things that was done to us, we'll try to do to them. But I'm telling you, the God don't work like that. You see what I'm saying? Y'all understand what I'm saying? We don't succumb to those things. You see what I'm saying? There's no reason. It's a whole different battle. We're going to win it when you understand who you are. But Life, Liberty, from the book entitled Life, Liberty, and Property by Charles A. Wiseman. The subject of this course, it's a whole course, examines the meaning behind the phrase life, liberty, and property, and its role in our history. The rights of life, and this when I ask people, don't y'all want all this? They'll be like, yes, so you don't want to be educated on this? You don't want your babies to be educated on this? Where people come with straight fugazi and with religious rhetoric, no matter what color it is, you can shut down, and so simple.
Clean. Oh, I thought you cleaned out.
No, I didn't clean that one. But life, liberty, and property entails all that is important in our earthly life. Thus, all political conflicts between people and their governments have centered around this concept. Learn what due process of law and the law of the land really mean in regards to the protection of your rights. It must be remembered that one who does not understand the law, remember I always say there's no excuse of not knowing the law in a court of law, but you got to understand that one who does not understand the law does not understand his or her rights, and is thus no better off than one who has no rights. What am I saying? Or what you saying, Sheik? When you see all those Negroes, when they get pulled over, those sovereign citizens, which is an oxymoron with feds on, and they get pulled over by a regular cop, and do you know the law? Do you know the law? No, they don't know the law. It took 2 weeks. They went to goddamn go what, babe? Police Academy 2 weeks. They became a damn cop. They don't know what the hell you talking about. Mm-hmm. We be bringing problems on for the lack of wisdom. In the context of that book, or to summarize it, it covers some critical legal and historical information needed to reestablish your rights and the political foundations which are being destroyed. This book is recommended to purchase and read while listening to this course. The book cost $500. Do any of y'all have it? Because I do. And they send you right to Amazon. When my college student deal with me, they don't have to send you to Amazon. They'll be like, they be giving my cars out. Well, get with Sheik Goodman Bay. You know, he'll show you how to study. He'll show you how to write an APA format. He'll have his own library, PDF books, or they print and bind them. But most students love the PDF books because they can have them on their tablet, and they have access to the computer lab, so they be printing and binding stuff on their own. Like they're like, we're gonna use the college stuff since they students. I said, I don't blame you. They take advantage of what they can. They build their library. This is what I'm telling people. And then they'll say, well, go to Amazon and buy the book, and it's $500. But let me give you some little introduction of the course, how we break down. And I've taught this to students on the college campus. All the college students in the student union put a donation together, and I lectured this. It took me about I did it for 2 weeks. Bam. Had to hold all the professors there, everything. They're like, are you interested in teaching here? Nope. Because nope, it's contingent on me signing a contract. It's so much stuff. And then it's contingent on me going back to school forever. So what I've done is I created my own organization as a lecturer. So I may anywhere, any college, any school, anywhere as a lecturer. And a lot of the college students, they have things called the student union, where it's funds in those departments. Our kids just don't know about it because they don't be part of these things. Just like when Muhammad Ali was banned from boxing and you saw him going to lecture on all those European campuses. Come on. He was getting paid to do that. How? The college was paying him. How? Through the student union. I'm telling people what I know. And I'm telling people it's only a matter of time. A lot of stuff I don't be sharing. Why? Because people don't understand the other level of how things can happen. If it don't happen in your community, it can happen the other way. How? You just got to work. And when it happens, it's just like boom, like damn. They're like, yeah. You look at the background and be like, yeah, you've been doing it for a minute. It should. Why? Because this is what happens when doing the right thing. I'm trying to tell people it's no other way. It takes some time. But the time that it's going to take is nothing to where anything else that's magnanimous or happen in the flesh. I guarantee you, it's right on time. Might not be when I want it, but right on time. I guarantee you. So let's proceed at the subject at hand. Watch this. Watch this. Chapter 1, life, liberty, and property. The basics of life, liberty, and property. Wouldn't you want to learn about that? I hope so. In your so-called civics class. So what you ask these Moors, they teaching all criminal stuff. They ain't teaching what I'm teaching. Definition of life, liberty, and property. Historical origins of law. A self-government introduction. Lesson 2, life, liberty, and property. The law of the land. Nature of the law of the land. Magna Carta and English law. Confirmation of Magna Carta. Lesson 3, the law of the land, American law of the land. The unwritten Constitution of the United States. What you say, Sheik? The unwritten Constitution of the United States? Yes, I said that. Chapter 4, the political conflicts over liberty, conflicts in biblical history, English law, and the Norman Quest, King John, and the Magna Carta. Lesson 5, the political conflict over liberty, law above government. What you mean? Law above government? Yep, I told y'all. What law above government? What? The religious law. But you don't listen. We think it's a joke. What you mean? Okay, do you think the Mormon or the Amish participate in anything with the government? Do you think that? If you think that, then, or do you think the Amish? Nope, nothing with the government they participate with. Why? Because their religious laws trump all that. That's why. That's why. The same way ours do, when you know what I'm talking about. If not, that's still on us. The religious aspect of life, liberty, and property. A theological war against liberty. Lesson 7, the religious aspect of life, liberty, and property, conforming to the law of God, colonial ministers on liberty. Lesson 8, the American doctrine of due process in colonial America. Lesson 9, the American doctrine of due process, the American Revolution, fundamental law, not to be changed. You know? Lesson 10, due process under the common law. Legal concept of due process interpretation by common law. And I was able to lecture this for a whole 2-week course at GCU with a group of students. And it was packed. One of my lectures is on my YouTube page when I did it in the doctoral library. When they asked me to lecture on more science, I said, okay. We're in the doctoral library. They got the camera on me. It's full of all students in the library. It's probably still on my YouTube page. But chapter 6, due process under the common law, intent to persuade or preserve common law principles. Preserve common law principles. Chapter 12, limitations on the legislative power. Colonial legislation limits. Chapter 13, legislative law is not the law of the land. Legislative law is not the law of the land. Lesson 14, limitations on police powers and special acts. Delegation principle as a limitation. Lesson 15, protections of fundamental rights. Land rights and ownership. Land rights and ownership. Lesson 16, the right to labor, work, and business. Lesson 17, possessing property, miscellaneous cases on liberty and property rights. Now, the only people that can have land is people that know their human rights. When you want to know all this, because I just showed you the book, Life, Liberty, and Property by Charles Wyman, cost $500. It costs $500. I have all the lesson plans. I have all the tapes. That's why I said we building something that can be beautiful. Once things come in the right way and the right people, everybody get taxes and receipts for their donations, we build our infrastructure, something that we can go along with. So when our kids get out of school, they come to, like 7th hour. In the summer, we have this. Our adults, we have this. It's so much else that come with me. Everything that I've done for jobs and for the state, for working and mentoring kids and adults, all these things, all the connections that I know how to bring to the table, we can do this. And doing things the right way is a must. Knowing who we are is a must. So when I talk about a trustee on arrest and false imprisonment, this is another document by Charles Wiseman. And I say we print all these books and things. I've lectured these things for years. I'm just going right back around in a circle because I love to teach my people. That's the only way. I'm courting my people to get them to come. We have a private platform. We have a private platform. And I just use StreamYard to court my people, but we have a private platform where I try to get the community to do. And once people come in and understand the ideal of donating and doing something that's right, we're going to have our brick and mortar where people can actually come to and take advantage of all the resources that we have, because it's a lot. But watch this. I'm going to give y'all an introduction because I got to get out of here. But listen to the context of this. Don't you want to learn about this? Instead of listening to somebody on the internet read from a book that somebody written and it's bits and pieces and chopped and screwed as they do in Texas. You know how they chop and screw it? Or how they edit something on social media or on TikTok and you think that's what somebody's saying and it ain't, it's AI. I told people when AI come out it's going to be so damn dangerous because you ain't going to know what's real or not. I told people in a minute, most actors, most entertainers, they ain't going to be no need. Why? Because these companies have the ownership of their likeness. Man, we're just flipping and turning shit to AI. I'm telling you. Ask Terrence Howard what happened on the movie when they played Whoop That Trick and an album with platinum. See how much he got for that movie. He ain't own the likeness of none of that. That was Terrence Howard rapping, but see how the movie company wrapped that up. You got paid for what we want you to do. This album with platinum, we own the likeness of this. You ain't getting none of that, baby. I'm telling you what I know. We talk about understanding and then standing strong. But listen to this. Don't you want to know this? When some more say, "Oh, we don't need to know that now." How we don't need to know that now? What are you talking about? Like, so what we need to know? Some stuff you done made up and came into your basement with and get people all locked up? Is that what we talking about? Because that ain't what I'm talking about. Definition of false imprisonment. Do we know what that means? What constitutes a false imprisonment? You should want to know what it is. Length of time required, damages and liability, malicious prosecution. You should want to know the facts in that. Arrest without warrant, the law of the land, complaints, memorandum of the law on arrest without warrant. 4, breach of the peace and felony arrest. What is a breach of peace? Arrest for breach of peace. All these things. So I don't want to stay too far in that explanation, but you hear what I'm saying. It's so much. The use of a warrant in arrest, bringing arrest persons before a magistrate. So much of that. Distortions of fundamental law. So much wisdom that need to be broke down. Your introduction. What constitutes a false imprisonment? False imprisonment consists of a type of unlawful restraint or interference with the personal liberty of an individual. Do you know what that means? This is what I tell my brothers. One, I never tell you to do something I ain't doing. I ain't riding in no car without no license, insurance, proofs of registration. I ain't doing that. If you doing that, that's on you. That's fine. But don't you get hit by no goddamn go semi with Big Mama and your baby in there and then go to court and try to sue and then you ain't even got no insurance or nothing. So you trying to use the laws to sue, but you ain't going to abide by the laws. See, to me, that's a fool. To me, that's a fool. Might not be a fool to you, but I don't see how you can explain that. I don't see how nobody can explain that dumb stuff. You know, you will send your babies and kids out unprotected, which is asinine. So when I ask these squareheads, I say, well, false imprisonment consists of any type of unlawful restraint or interference with personal liberty of an individual. So what does that mean? This don't mean you asking no damn stupid cop, no matter what color they are, do you know the law? No, he or she don't know the freaking law. They don't. It basically involves any unlawful violation of the liberty of another. Now we talk about operating the right way. Are you being unlawfully violated of the liberty, or is somebody violating your liberty? What do you mean? You tell me. You should know this. This ain't got nothing to do with no Moorish s'mores. How about that? Moorish s'mores. Put it like that. I'm talking law. I'm talking about doing things the right way, operating the right way. Any rhetoric that you would teach some adults. I'm telling these people, would you teach this to the kids? Because if you say that, then you okay with teaching kids poison. You okay with giving kids some goddamn vinegar, giving baby vinegar. You wanted them retardo fardos. Because this wisdom that you promulgating on the internet and to these adults, if you say you ain't gonna give it to a baby because you know it ain't right, then what did that tell you? That tell you something off, don't it, baby? That tell you. She over there in her own world. But the ancient English legal scholar, Henry D. Bracton, 1200 to 1262 to 1268, tells us that false imprisonment is one of the oldest violations of rights known. You see? Forcefully to deprive a man or a woman of freedom to go wheresoever he may is clearly a trespass. False imprisonment was indeed one of the first trespasses recognized by the common law. Now, see, I just broke down earlier about common law. All of these sciences and wisdom, I'll show everything I talk about is going to go back to wisdom. You got the headphones on?
Huh?
I've been talking to you, you ain't even know.
What you say?
Nothing, that's right.
No, I only got one on though. What you say, baby?
Nothing.
Sorry.
But false imprisonment, I'm almost done. But false imprisonment is classified as a tort under the common law. So do anybody know what a tort is? And also as a crime. But you must be operating right. This is not no sovereign citizen Negro Roger Elvick B to the S crap. This is none of that. I'm telling you how to stand on your square in the right way. I'm telling you how to break no law. That's not what you're going to get from Sheik Khari Goodman Bey. That's why I'm not polar to a whole bunch of criminals. That's why I'm telling y'all, when they get in trouble, everybody be like, well, this dude be telling y'all what's going to happen. It ain't no magic wand that some Negro guy you met on the internet that you're going to get pulled over and say, whoa, or stand with your feet out to give him some paper. Man, that stuff going to be ripped up. That paper with that seal they got from any store or wherever they got. And all that stuff is fugazi. I'm telling you. And with all that crazy, fictitious language, I keep telling brothers and sisters, everything about the Moorish Science Temple and the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Declaration, the Proclamation, how the prophet set the temple up, the state booklet, the letter from the CCRD telling them lying Negroes that this ain't no trust fund and none of that, telling them it's just a religious affidavit, is available to the general public. And everybody know I'm telling the truth. So if everybody know I'm telling the truth, then it got to be somebody that's not telling the truth. It got to be somebody that's characters and can mix truth with falseness so good that can trick the elect. That's what the biblical scripture says. They just reversing it on him because they black and they dressed up in the same regalia that you might see me in. But when you see me and see them, we stand next to each other. I bet we don't represent the same thing. I bet I'm going to stand strong on everything I'm saying, because I'm going to say at the end of the day, how have any of that stuff worked for you and your family? And I guarantee you, it ain't. Then they say, oh, well, we gotta be industrial, we gotta do this. Who said? Ain't nobody getting locked up for me. Ain't no Negro on no internet getting locked up for me calling themselves some damn Moroccan president or some Moroccan governor and live in the damn United States. If you was some Moroccan general or some Moroccan president, they'd just expedite your ass back to Morocco. What we talking about? Most of these brothers don't even have dual citizenship. Most of these brothers don't even have a passport. So what we talking about? It just be a lot of rhetoric to a bunch of people that don't know. And I don't blame the people, because the people blameless. I look at them as sheeps and pups. I blame the individuals that's promulgating this stuff to our brothers and sisters as factual and going all the way to the degree to come up with other people to rock with them to spread the lies. It's only one law, it's only one science, it's only one history, it's only one Moorish Science Temple of America, it's only one prophet. Our prophet didn't come up with this as some Moroccan general or Morocco or some president of Morocco with these makeshift courts in these people's basements. Like this is almost like some retarded stuff. When you ask a person who elected you as a president, Who elected a person as the president of this? What group, what body, what district elected these people as this? None. And people be mad because people playing a game with their own people. They can't take this to they wouldn't debate no university. They wouldn't take this to Princeton and Harvard the same way I would, which I've already done. No disrespect, and destroyed them, had them looking crazy because it's one science. Yes, I'm a Moor and I know who I am, but that's when it stops. When it comes to law, when it comes to history, when it comes to understanding, it's only one way to do things. And how? I do it the right way. I don't care how nobody feel. That's the real analogy of standing your square, where you can defend yourself like a lion. It's been labeled as a tort, a trespass, an assault, a wrong, a damage, and an injury, giving one cause to bring suit against another for a remedy. Depriving a person of their liberty is legally no different than depriving a person of their property. A theft of liberty is a wrong by which remedy can be had, just as in the case with the theft of property. Are y'all following me? You see? See, these is things that they talk about in universities. Not no whole bunch of Negroes or some prison Negroes that's talking about, well, you see this, we're going to use this to get out of jail or not pay this. No, you're not. You're going to get looked at as a fool. The first thing they're going to tell you to take that fez off. They're going to say, if that hat, you ain't going to know nothing. They're going to take it off. Because it'd be a dunce hat on people when they don't want to be educated the right way. I tell brothers, you don't have to go to jail to get this wisdom that I have freely for you. If my homies in prison say this and they be like, why y'all be listening to this stupid stuff and Sheik is right here? You already in prison, then you come out and try to do the same criminal stuff? I have to tell a stupid Negro, excuse my candor, and I'm saying it like that. Brother, you're not finna get out of jail and listen to this dude talking about, well, when you get out, you don't got to get no license and all this. How you gonna drive semi-trucks without no operator's license, without no truck license? Who told you this? And if you had license and then give them up while you're doing it, when they check you and all that, you're gonna lose your job. Smart guy. That, like, all this stuff is asinine. All this stuff be stupid. And when I be putting the flashlight on it, and you know it, be like, yeah, it is stupid, ain't it? So here it is, you got a whole bunch of middle-aged men playing a damn game. And in the midst of their games, you getting other people entrapped in it because they might be sincere, but they sincerely wrong because you convinced them on some of the most stupidest stuff. False imprisonment is a great offense due to the high regard the law has for liberty. In Chitty's practice of the law, it states, research what I'm saying, the infraction of personal liberty has ever been regarded as one of the greatest injuries. The injuries to liberty are principally termed false imprisonments or malicious prosecutions. Unlawful detention. Unlawful detention. Unlawful detention. They're saying this is where other get up. Am I arrested? They say, no, you detained. Okay. I'm telling you, I have the pleasure to study with prosecutor attorneys, man, everything. I did a whole dissertation. I asked the question before I got started. I said, okay, I'm gonna come back and ask y'all this question again. I said it was a murder. I said it was a crime. And I said they say a person was stabbed, possibly with a knife, right? I said possibly with a knife. So then as I've been talking, boom, boom, I came back and then I asked them the same question. I said, now what was that case? What did I ask y'all again? And I'm gonna tell you how people that say they heard something gonna say something totally different. Everyone was raising their hand. Ooh, I remember. I said, yeah. You said, yeah, somebody was shot 3 times. I said, okay. Somebody else said, yeah, you said somebody got killed. And I was like, how? You said you didn't know. You said, yeah, somebody, this lady stabbed. It was so many different things. And when I'm showing you, people that say they witnessed something or heard something, clearly, when you explain it, you saying something different because none of the stuff that they said, I said. Then I played it back. Everybody was looking stupid. And I said, you see how you can be a so-called witness and fabricate everything that you're saying? Yep, I know. Unlawful detention or deprivation of liberty is the basis of an action for the tort of false imprisonment. Right? Let me go back to something I just said a second ago. The infraction of personal liberty has ever been regarded as one of the greatest injuries. The injuries to liberty are principally termed false imprisonments or malicious prosecutions. Unlawful detention. detention. So when the police say, or are you on the arrest, or you being detained? What you being detained for? And I wouldn't even tell it. I wouldn't even ask certain things. I'm not even asking. Because then they can say, yeah, you're being detained. Then you got to come with some more questions. What I'm being detained for? See, now you got dialogue. Now you having dialogue. I don't have no dialogue. Why? Because I got the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Nothing your smart self say when you see these Moors and they be on the side of the road talking to you. Well, do you know who I am? Well, no, nothing you say is going to help you in your case. So the best thing you need to do is what? Shut up, smart guy.
I'm smart guy.
But no, they think they so smart because they done read some black laws or they done saw some video talking about the Grand Sheik. And when the Grand Sheik pull up, he be talking about some secret damn meeting on some damn Jekyll Island. And you just got pulled over for no license, no insurance. They about to tow your car. And here's somebody talking about some secret meeting on Jekyll Island. With all due respect. Man, I don't respect no gangs, nobody getting nobody in trouble, locked up with this Roger Elvick, sovereign citizen, militia. I want to overthrow the government, retardo, fardo stuff. I'm saying it just like that. And these Negroes know they doing this to the people. That's some European, I want to overthrow the government, Roger Elvick, paradigm group, Europeans that hate the government. I call them European militias. And a dumb Moor, the sovereign citizen Moor, which is an oxymoron, it will be sitting next in jail with the European militia that's operating the same way as the Negro sovereign citizen Moor is. Talking about he gonna expatriate from this de facto government. You will be judged in the same way as the European. I'm trying to tell you. And everybody know this is factual, but they don't want to go with it because you are so brainwashed in a belief system because you're looking at a character. But you can't take that to no court of law. I bet you they can't come and defend that. I bet you that ideology would be destroyed. Because that's the first thing they'll say, oh, they'll be like, ears will start ringing. The language, oh, that's that sovereign citizen Roger Elvick stuff. The ears are going to start ringing. Wow, because the language that you're coming with. That's how I be knowing brothers' angles. When brothers be coming, no disrespect to no one. When they be saying, oh man, I'm in trouble at work or my family. Yeah, because you running your mouth. I know, because you running your mouth. Deprivation of liberty is the basis of an action for the tort of false imprisonment. Actual seizure of or laying on hands of is not necessary to constitute an unlawful detention. What did I just say? Them putting you in handcuffs and all that is not necessary to constitute an unlawful detention. Do you know what I'm saying? An unlawful detention is stopping you from going where you're going. Why? Because I just told you got the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to travel how? Without being harmed. If you ain't broke no crime and if everything popping, I'm going. I don't answer no questions. Where you going? Why? Oh, I'm finna go to McDonald's. Okay, well, McDonald's closed. Now you lying. Now they got that. Man, I ain't go to the moon. I'm going to the moon. I drive in circles. So why I'm saying belligerent like that, ain't nobody business where you going. That's the only essential elements of the action are one, detention or restraint against your will. And two, the unlawfulness of such detention or restraint. See, this is the law. How? They teach it in the universities. I'm telling you, it ain't no special science. It ain't no special this. If brothers ain't gonna teach the right way, then they lying. They ain't gonna teach their kid this. And I ask all them brothers, would you teach your kid this rhetoric? Hell no, you wouldn't teach your kid that rhetoric. You know it and I know it. And that, because it's not more science. In his treaty on the law of torts, Judge Cooley states, false imprisonment is a wrong akin to the wrongs of assault and battery, and consists in imposing by force or threats an unlawful restraint upon the man's freedom or of locomotion, which mean threats. Okay, you want to go to jail? You want to go to jail? See, that's a threat. You want to go to jail? So now, you don't want to go to jail. So what's the first thing that go up? It's a dopamine that go off in your head. It's almost like when a gazelle being chased in a wilderness by a lion or something. What? That fear of what? I got to defend myself. Hey, if I'm going to get locked up, so what? Now you finna run your mouth. By threats. By force or by threats. By force or by threats. Another force is putting you in handcuff in the back seat. The other threats. Well, let me run your background check. For what? You put me over, you might have said I was doing this. License and registration, I'm good, I'm gone. Threats and unlawful restraint upon a man's freedom of locomotion. Blackstone in his commentaries on the law. So you can look this, Blackstone in the commentary of the law, 3B1, comp 127. That's how you can look up in the area what I'm talking about. States on this matter, every confinement of the person is an imprisonment, whether it be in a common prison or in a private house or in the stocks, or even by forcibly detaining one in the public streets. Thus, any type of detainment or confinement of a person or restriction or deprivation of their liberty or freedom of locomotion, where he is compelled to remain where he does not wish to remain, or to go where he does not wish to go, is an imprisonment. And the only question thereafter is whether or not the imprisonment is false. The word false comes from the common law and is synonymous with unlawful. A false arrest is one means of committing a false imprisonment. In describing a false imprisonment as being the unlawful restraint of the liberty of the citizen or the primary rights of freedom of locomotion, the Supreme Court of Idaho also states, imprisonment is a restraint of the personal liberty of other and prevention of his movements from place to place or his free action according to his own pleasure and will. It is false imprisonment when this is done without lawful authority. In reviewing several textbook definitions of false imprisonment, the Supreme Court of North Carolina states, false imprisonment is the unlawful and total restraint of the liberty of the person. The imprisonment is false in the sense being unlawful. The right violated by this tort is freedom of locomotion. The right violated by this tort is freedom of locomotion, it being historically to the class of rights known as simple or primary rights. The theory of law is that the one interferes with the freedom of locomotion of another at his own peril. A rather complete description of what does and does not constitute false imprisonment was given by the Supreme Court of Kansas as follows, and I quote again, brothers and sisters. False imprisonment is necessarily a wrongful interference with the personal liberty of an individual. The wrong may be committed by words alone or by actions or by both, and by merely operating on the will of the individual, or by personal violence, or by both. It is not necessary that the individual be confined within a prison or within the walls, or that he assaulted or even touched. It is not necessary that there should be any injury done to the individual's person or to his character or reputation, nor is it necessary that the wrongful act be committed with malice or ill will. When they say, well, it wasn't no ill will, it don't matter. Or even with the slightest wrongful intention, nor is it necessary that the act be under color of any legal or judicial proceedings. All that is necessary is that the individual be restrained of what, brothers and sisters? His or her liberty without any sufficient legal cause thereof, and by words or acts which he fears to disregard. You see, false imprisonment exists not only by words or actions that one fears to disregard, but also by such acts and measures that cannot be disregarded. No fear of disobedience need to exist. If someone causes a situation that makes it impossible for another to exercise their liberty or locomotion, it is a what? False imprisonment. Absolutely. That's what it is. False imprisonment is the name of the category for those torts that unlawfully deprive or interfere with the liberty of a person. And under this category, the lawful arrest is the most common type of wrong committed. Another common way in which a wrong of the nature occurs is by the unlawful detention of a person in a room or a jail or other locations. Definitions of false imprisonment usually come from unlawful restraints of this nature. So when you see Morris out here making up stuff and talking about I'm a sovereign and a citizen, how in the heezy is your black bleepity bleep a sovereign and a citizen at the same time? That's an oxymoron. How can you be a sovereign and a citizen? That is some of the most retarded stuff. And then they say, well, I ain't say sovereign citizen. Well, what you talk about? Well, I'm a Moroccan and none of the laws pertain to me. That's cap. You live on 2100 Jackson Street. Your wife work at Ross. Your son go to this public school. Come on, man. That's what I be saying. These dudes need to stop the cap. You know? That's all I'm saying. That's all we saying here. False imprisonment has been well defined to be a trespass committed by one man against the person of another by unlawfully arresting him and detaining him without any legal authority. Now, that's the thing. Without any legal authority, you got to be operating right. Because if I did this, you put me over a broken tail light, okay, boom, 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 handle that business, license, registration, proof, you gone. If that's the case. The law sets such a high value upon the liberty of the citizen that even an attempt to unlawfully arrest is esteemed as a great provocation. All the authorities agree that an arrest may be made either with or without any physical force or actual touching by the officer. Thus, any legal restraints of one's personal liberty by the act of another gives the person a cause of action for false imprisonment against the one causing the illegal restraint. Like, for instance, prima facie, any restraint put by fear or force is unlawful. You know, false imprisonment is necessarily a wrongful interference with the personal liberty of an individual, usually made by an arrest, and physical custody or restraint is not essential to the effectuation of an arrest. So if an officer tells a person that he is under arrest and he therefore submits himself to the officer, going with him and obeying his orders, such person is deprived of his liberty. And if the act of the officer is unlawful, it is false imprisonment. In all cases in which there is no physical touching or seizure, nor any resistance, the intentions of the parties to the transaction are to be considered. In such a case, there must be intent on the part of one of them to arrest or restrain the other, and intent on the part of such other to submit under the belief and impression that submission was necessary. So when we talk about definitions, we'll provide insight into the nature and elements of false imprisonment. False imprisonment is the unlawful restraint by one person of the physical liberty of another. And here, use the word false seems to be synonymous with unlawful. Any exercise of force, express or implied threat of force by which in fact the other person is deprived of his liberty, compelled to remain where he does not wish to remain, or go where he does not wish to go, is an imprisonment. False imprisonment is the unlawful arrest or detention of a person without warrant or by any legal warrant, or a warrant illegally executed. Any restraint, however slight, upon another's liberty to come and go as he please constitutes an arrest. I'm telling you, it's so much more I can go. I'll give you a little perspective. The length of time requirement. The tort of wrong of false imprisonment occurs the instance that one is restrained in the exercise of their liberty. There is no unreasonably length of time for a restraint before the tort can be claimed. I hope you listen to what I'm saying. False imprisonment at common law and elsewhere consists in the unlawful detention of a person, another, for any time whereby he is deprived of his personal liberty. I'm talking about common law. I ain't say criminal law, did I? A common law, not criminal law, where two people are traveling in a car and stopped by police, and the party not driving is put in the police car and told to wait. The officer doing so is guilty of false imprisonment. I just gave you an analogy. Even though the person was in the police car for less than a minute, it was an arrest, as the officer had no authority for confining him in the car, Even where police officers stop a moving vehicle for a brief detention, it is sufficient to constitute an arrest. Where one is, told to stay in their car by an officer, though it be for only 10 seconds, that's still an arrest. Time duration is not a factor in making an arrest. When the person say, well, we only have them there for a minute, that don't matter. I just said time duration is not a factor in making an arrest. See, these are words that you say when they know, like the language, they're like, these is facts when you doing the right thing. False imprisonment is defined as an act which directly or indirectly is a legal cause of confinement of another within boundaries fixed by the actor for any time, no matter how short in duration, makes the actor liable to the other. And when one is approached by an officer and questioned by his identity and actions, this is only an accosting, not an arrest. Research what I'm saying. Research accosting. ACCOSTING. And tell me what you get from that word. Accosting, not an arrest. So I could talk about this all day when I say you got to be taught the right way. You can't be taught by no radicals to do nothing right. You're going to be teaching something right. Only thing that's going to happen, you're going to go to jail. They teaching you Roger Elvick criminal behavior. That's not more science. I can talk about common law and things that's been taught in universities, but a lot of this stuff, people teaching the wrong stuff. Talk about they're going to expatriate from this de facto government. Talk about they canceling corporate debt. I had to tell a lady, she talked about, oh, yes, this is her land. And I said, well, where you at in Florida? I said, either you're going to get killed or you're getting ready to go to jail. I hope Allah protect you. You squatting in some people's house in Florida, and squatters have no right in Florida. You talking crazy at your job, and this is the right to work in Savannah. When I be telling people, I said, oh, you getting ready to get walked out your job. How? Because they didn't saw one of your videos. You talk about you about to overthrow the government. They just walk you out your job. Now, and you be talking about, oh man, they messing with me at my job. Yeah, because you talking to fool. You talking to fool. You're not talking like a fool. No, you talking a fool. That's what the elders will be saying. But one who interferes with another's liberty of locomotion does so at his own peril. All who do so without lawful authority can be sued for the trespass upon liberty and loss of time. So I want us to know this stuff. You know, there's so many ways I can go with this wisdom and show you precedented cases and things. That's in Charles A. Wiseman. That's life, liberty, and property. Also here, a trustee on arrest and false imprisonment. You have to know this. And it's shame on brothers and sisters because they're lazy. Or they just want to act like, well, I'm a sheep because you older. That's just like a lot of these gatekeepers in other places. It's like just because you're older, all you talking is rhetoric. Nobody's learning. Everybody going to jail. Everybody got some different concept. Everybody want to say they're the reincarnation of something, of Noble Drew Ali or this. It's like, dude, well, be yourself. Noble Drew Ali brought something back to us that was already there. You know? I'll tell you this. I'll give y'all this one. This is a good one. Breach of peace and felony arrest. What is a breach of peace? A breach of peace may be generally defined as a violation of the public order, which amounts to a disturbance of the public tranquility or by enticing others to do so. You heard that. It is clear that not every misdemeanor is a breach of the peace. So now you got to know what ramifications go to the breach of the peace. I told y'all already. Anybody that you know that's immoral is promulgating that severance package stuff. That's Roger Elvick, sovereign citizen militia stuff. They went to prison for that. The Europeans, the Paradigm Group, they all went to prison for that. No disrespect, even to Marcel L. Walton. No disrespect. Peace to that brother. He's passed. He went to prison for that. All these people say you don't pay taxes and all this, then they go to jail for what? Telling people how to file fake taxes. This is what I be telling people. It's like, dude, stop. Like, we got to stop that cap, and we got to stop this stuff in our community with people just because they're older with some fallacy. And they done got this stuff from Europeans, from Albans and Trailer Dykes, and won't tell you the truth. That SHIT came from Roger Elvick. Research what I'm telling y'all. It's the same thing that these sovereign citizen Moors, which is oxymoron, is doing to y'all in the community. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. You can't. You cannot tell me I'm lying. And who? Everybody that's promulgating that crap. Anybody that you promulgate, they talk about these some damn notes you can take to the bank, some trust certificates. They a fool and crazy, and you a fool and crazy too, for thinking that. I know women lost their children, all that have to be crazy. I done heard a woman on YouTube talk about she's some what she say? Sharifian officer. I said that's Ottoman Empire stuff. But you're using all these government programs, which you have the right to do when you're doing it the right way, and getting arrested on TV. That's why I say all this stuff is stupid. To constitute a breach of the peace, there must be some violence or harm existing or threatening to occur to a person, property, health, or morals. I can go on and on with this, but it'll take too long. Like I said, it took me a whole 2 weeks, and I've done this in academia. And so when these mores be coming, well, we don't gotta roll with that now. What? You don't gotta roll with that now. Well, what law you got? Well, we got our Moore's law. Okay, so when the police arrest you, no matter what color they are, what Negro you done met, what little Moore's law, it ain't no attorneys. These Negroes ain't finna show up. You finna have a court-appointed attorney. You know it and I know it. And if them Negroes get on here lying through their teeth, I'm gonna start showing you all their real cases. Because that's the Free Information Act. With all the Moors that been going to jail, they ain't had no damn Moors attorney. They had court-appointed attorneys. And they pleaded to a lesser charge. This what I'm telling you. So it ain't no damn Moore's law. I don't care if you use that little common law handbook. I know people that used those books and went straight to jail, went straight to freaking prison. The language that you use when they be talking about writing the provost marshal. I heard some more talking about that. They stupid bleepity bleep wrote the provost marshal. Them Negroes got audited. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? These middle-aged men and women. That's why I say something is wrong. And somebody got to be the so-called freedom fighter in all the midst of the bull crap. Just like, okay, when I talk about ignorance of the law, there's no excuse of not knowing the law in a court of law. What did you just say, Sheik? I said, ignorance of the law is no excuse of not knowing the law in the court of law. That's what I just said. Because law governs all events. And if you don't know that, then somebody is playing a game with you. Because ignorance of the law ain't no excuse. It is a fundamental maxim of the law that ignorance of the law is no excuse to violating it as well. What? I just told you how the pendulum swing. Ignorance is no excuse of not knowing the law or violating it as well. That's what I'm saying. One such maxim is as follows. Ignorance of the fact, excuses. Ignorance of the law, excuses not. Every man must be taken to be cognizant of the law. Otherwise, there is no saying to what extent the excuse of ignorance may not be carried. So you can just go on and say, you act like you don't know what the hell you talk about. But when I was a child, I act like a child. When I became a man, I put away childish ways. You can't be no L or no Bay, and you don't understand what I'm saying. You can't be. You can't be for the truth if you ain't rocking with what I'm saying. That's why I be telling Moors. It's so many people that's going to continue to fall with the fugazi because we still ain't going to be like, okay, man, I've been proved this shit is trash. It has been unlawful detention or imprisonment does not become lawful because done out of ignorance of the law. The Georgia Court of Appeals has held that in no defense that a person perpetuating an illegal arrest or imprisonment is ignorant of the illegality of his act. Knowing an arrest, which is illegal, is sufficient to fix liability. False imprisonment is treated as a tort and also a crime. If the conduct is unlawful, neither good faith nor provocation nor ignorance of the law is a defense to the person committing the wrong. That's both ways. I keep telling y'all, that's both ways. Let me give you another analogy. When these lying Negroes talk about some counseling course, this is the truth of the counseling course. They're not going to be valid because they're not scholars. If a U.S. citizen kill a Moor, or vice versa, if a Moor kill a U.S. citizen, that Moor want and should be judged in the same parameters as that U.S. citizen. That's a fact. Tell me what other law is for you. You tell me what other law is for so-called Moors when they murder somebody or be accused for it. What court you gonna go to? You ain't going to no Negro court in no basement that they be having on TikTok because they done went and bought some shit that look like on the court, and you going there and telling these Negroes your whole case, and they gonna use them videos for you in a court of law, and I keep telling y'all these Negroes is agents, and y'all still don't understand what I'm saying? This is stupid. Just like the Rise of the Moors, I told y'all that with that makeshift video stuff, and that brother went on there and told everything. They just put the tape in, like minutes to the side. What's that? Just put the tape in. You know you done effed up, don't you? You know you done effed up. Why? Because you done made a whole video explaining yourself to this panel in a basement with your retarded butt, and it's all on YouTube. So all of them internet task force doing is watching the tape. They like, these niggas stupid. Why? Because you on here explaining everything. You told everything. Tell me if I'm lying. I'll play the whole damn tape. People been calling me like, she can't. I said, I can't help nobody. I said, I told y'all this was going to happen. This is what I'm telling people. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And these people say they so heavy. Ex-military, all this stuff. Then if you so heavy, then either you sincerely wrong, or you just crazy, or you a police officer, or you an agent, and you get paid to do what? Leave people in a burning house. These facts. Can't be afraid to say that. Can't be afraid to say that. Because I ain't afraid. I keep telling people ain't nobody doing this. This stuff is stupid. No good has came out of it. They can't say nothing about no more science. It's a whole bunch of people that used to be arguing on the internet because they was doing things. They all used to be in groups. They broke off because the ideology is all goofy stuff. It's all a game. And they got people that might have been sincere or sincerely wrong to go in a burning house. I just told y'all. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So all those brothers and sisters was ignorance of the law. If that stuff was so powerful, why every one of them brothers had a court-appointed attorney? I ain't seen no one. They say, oh, they got the more science and they got people, the clock of destiny. Where are those people defending those brothers in their best interest? They legal rep. That was Moors. Where they at? Where they at? Out of all the rhetoric, out of all the people in the comments that be saying stuff and fight for the Moors, they fight for our rights. Want none of them people in the courts? None. Where they defense team? Where the Moors defense team? Where the whatever defense team? So you got a whole bunch of people that's ran to some stuff, and when the lights cut on, scatter like Fugazi, and when you get what? The documents, because it's the legal rights. Just like if somebody snitch on you or anything, hey, that's free information. You can see the whole thing, you'll start laughing like, oh man, like what? You'll see the whole play. You will see the whole play. And ain't no disrespect to no one. I tell people what it is. No, ignorance of the law is no excuse. I'm telling us. I told people a long time ago when I saw the play happening, I said, oh man. When I showed people what was happening in Texas, how some of these same individuals were squatting in the Empress house and the task force came. And then I saw some of these individuals run to China. And then they was coming back to Atlanta, talk about they nationalizing people. And I was trying to save brothers' lives. But you know how criminals are. Criminals attached to criminal stuff. And it's no disrespect to no one. And everyone know that's a truth teller. They know I'm telling the truth. The only one that will be arguing with me is somebody trying to argue with me some criminal stuff and say, oh, this work. They'll tell you some 1099 is some trust fund at the end of the rainbow. And I'll tell you the 1099 ain't nothing but a affidavit. And you can get with the seal from the CCRD, the county clerk and recorder of deeds. And I show you that those sheiks that it was supposed to, they lied. And I'm telling you, they legally and lawfully, whatever you want to call it, is off. And you can't take that nowhere. So therefore, then it's useless because ignorance of the law is no excuse. And law governs all events. That's why I be telling my brothers and sisters, we cannot let adults be out here playing games with our babies. We do not have time to be out here playing no game. I've been seeing so much of stupid stuff, like they call the brother in St. Louis. Now they got a YouTube video of the Moor, and then you see people in the comments. They talk about he was a big drug dealer and this, and he was a sheik. I said all this stupid stuff that we broadcast is gonna get brothers' heads bust wide open to the white meat, and that's the conversation that I have with people. I don't have time to be arguing about religion. Most Negroes don't know nothing about no spirituality. We got the same books and arguing over everything. This lower science and this lower level satanic spirit done got Negroes twisted, looking at each other as Crips and Bloods, Paru, a Greek fraternity, Kappa, this and all this, and all them Negroes in the same neighborhood. That's stupid. That's what I'm telling you. And then even with Moors, because I'm a Moor, I'm a sheik, a gatherer of men. I have a temple in the school, and I'm telling you, none of that stuff is valid. And all these stupid videos is stupid. All these old men making videos act like it's some secret wisdom. Listen to these old men, and to me, it sounds like they senile or something or Alzheimer's because man, people have been talking that rhetoric for over 30 years. And when we start talking about real law, we still talk about some secret meetings and shit. Excuse my candor. Some Jekyll Island. We still on that. And I say, man, dude, we should be past all that stuff. All those old, that stuff I call like the Amazing Grace. All those Negro hits, fake spirituals. That's what I get with all that just talking. I call that preaching. What we be getting from a lot of these people that need to be sitting down. Because if nationality is the order of the day, what you're talking about, well, how is it done? How is it manifesting in real life? Because driving with license, driving without license, squatting houses, that shouldn't be a group of brothers' mission. That's some criminal bum shit. Excuse my candor. I'm just saying. I mean, people ask me some questions. Anybody operating telling you that some ID is this, can't nobody nationalize you or spiritualize you. That'll change you from the descendant nature of your foremothers and forefathers. Nobody on the internet can nationalize you. And why do you think that? Why do you think anybody on the internet has the power to make you something that they can't? They can't do that to their kids. But you met somebody on the internet and got some ID and said they nationalized you and this is your tribal ID. Why? You might as well just make your own. You ain't never thought about that? I ask all my brothers and sisters, man, this is a safe place. Ask questions. Because there's a lot of stuff that's been misconstrued. It's a lot of older people that's not going to tell people the facts. I tell y'all, if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. See, a lot of people will say some things, but it's not more science. A lot of people is new in this. A lot of people watch a lot of videos. I give honor and the blessedness is to be able to use this to touch my people. I also been in academia. I also been in different walks of life and spirituality. I've had businesses. I've done things. I deal with different other people. I'm telling you, and nothing is hidden from us. It's our own kind that won't stand up in the midst of, that won't stand in the middle of it and be a truth seeker. Those that went and acquire all that wisdom will come back in the midst of your face and tell you some of the most outlandish lies. How can anybody, misnomer black man, have a PhD and come back to you and still talk that black stuff? Especially if they're an elder, out of all the so-called civil rights and all this, and call you the black man and all this. What is that about? And I just said Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, and you ain't never heard none of them people say that. You ain't never heard Dr. Cornel West talk about the Declaration of Human Rights. They just hated Obama so much, that was their whole focus. That was all these Negro focus. I told y'all, it's so, like we so messed up. The Declaration of Human Rights been here before me, you, my dad, everything. Everything I talk about been here. Why haven't our elders talked about this? Why haven't nobody had the discussion about this? What we get? A whole bunch of splinter groups. We get Moors acting like sovereign citizens, like they got some special knowledge or some information. That's how these Moors, and I'm talking about a whole bunch of old ones too. A lot of the brothers is sellouts. How could they be getting behind, no disrespect, European political offices? Like for sheriffs and all this, and won't even say, well, okay, well then we need to make Moorish American Day in the cities and back in Detroit, how it is in all other states when it happened in 2012. Raise the flag. That's why I be saying people want your support when it's time to do something, but we don't talk about who we are, because if now is the order of the day, this need to be resurrected on a broad stage. The brothers that's teaching the right way, like myself and others, need to stand up in the midst with all these fascist groups. It's brothers going around with badges right now, with AA22 number, talk about they something. I don't know. I said, like, what's the use of that? Are you patrolling your neighborhood? No, you don't even own no neighborhood. Why? Because you live in an apartment complex and maybe on Section 8. I mean, this is facts. These people live in other communities with their own bylaws, and then you riding around in cars like Vanguard and all this and security, but securing what? Nobody hired you. You ain't no contract with nobody. You're not on your own land. So all this stuff is meaningless. Because the public that people voted for, that's paying so-called taxes for, they have their so-called public officers. So when these brothers be saying, our community, what community? What community are you patrolling? You ain't controlling your community. You don't have 40 acres or whatever, and you ride around and patrolling your acres, making sure nobody don't violate, making sure this, that, and the other is private under religious laws. No, everybody doing this stuff in public. You got these people live in regular neighborhoods. Fact check me if I'm lying. Fact check me. And most of them got girls. They might not be in a union. I bet you they on welfare. I bet you. I bet you. I bet you. I bet you. So once again, it's fake. How can you be patrolling or all this and people want some stuff and you don't even have your own land? You riding around in a city with all other people. What are you patrolling? Where are you driving around doing what? Driving around doing what in a car with all this insignia on it to do what? You driving around a neighborhood, a community with its peace officers, with its public officers. So now, who's smart and who's stupid when you judge it? You'll be like, Sheik, I think that's stupid. I know you do. I know you do. It is. It's very idiotic. But we can make TikTok videos, we can make videos, we can have a lot of women to talk. And that's another thing I say, man, I be feeling sorry for a lot of these women when I be seeing these TikTok videos of these, whatever these people call themselves with these insignias, knee seals, with these makeshift basements, talk about now we're having court. In your basement? So Morris finna be, so you telling me you requested Morris to come to you and what you finna do with their cases when they gotta go to the real courts to defend themselves? What's them coming to you explaining their case gonna do? Are you gonna go to court and defend them in their best interest? Do you have all the evidence to defend them? No. I'm warning my brothers and sisters, don't get caught up in the cap, because a lot of these brothers already been arrested. One brother wrote a book. I said he'd been locked up in Arizona, ran back to his other place, and these people still call themselves presidents of Morocco and all this stuff. They know, I know what I'm talking about. This is what I've been telling people. I said, man, this is a scary game, and it's getting ready to happen. Especially with Trump is in office. Trump is just opening a Pandora box, and a lot of these Moors again finna get caught up in a rapture. Once again, how? Because ignorance of the law, and what? Law governs all events. You cannot be a sheik and don't teach your brothers all law, for they can operate in the right manifestation no matter how they feel. Because the first thing is a divine. The divine is able for you to get rid of all the craziness and put the good stuff in and correct yourself. That's what this is about, self. But people will get the feds, get the garbage, and want to read some stuff and talk about, I'm teaching people how to cook, about they now they claim their birthright. And I say, claim what birthright? And then you see these Negroes squatting in houses, talk about they canceling corporate debt. And I say, what corporate debt you got? None. This is the irony of what I'll be talking about. Then I ask these retardo fardos, where are you getting this stuff from? And they don't even have the cojones to say where they get it from. They don't have the cojones to say where they getting this trash from. Because I'll tell anybody in their face, I don't care how old they are, I say this is trash. And say, let's see how this trash work for you. It ain't. It's all rhetoric and it's trash. And I don't respect trash. I don't respect nobody when that trash can be destroyed. And then the person will start changing it up. A lot of people first start talking about the Zodiacus. And then they start switching it up. Then they say they start talking about they some this and they from Moorish consulate, and they make IDs with the bald-headed man Charlotte Marbet and all this rhetoric. And I say, and they talk all this black stuff. And I say, well, he had a European woman. I don't care what woman you have, but this is what I'm saying. But then all these people talk this. They with all these videos talk about there was the Moorish consulate with all this insignia in the background with the so-called Grand Sheik and that bald-headed man. Where they at now? Where that bald-headed man now? That was the Moorish consulate. Where's all that stuff now? Where's that? And then everybody be starting defending Negroes. I say, you see the game we do, we'll never get right. Why? No, because when people doing bull crap, call it out. Because you can't be part of somebody that's running a scam, and then they done played you, and then you would say, well, I didn't know. Well, the whole time you ain't look in the mirror, was that much money coming in for you not to say nothing and be complacent? Yeah. Yes, they do. And then people be mad and upset. I say, man, it ain't about that. We don't lead our people in no burning house. It's just like on the Breakfast Club when my man DJ Envy got caught up with the other dude, what was Caesar Pina, with the house stuff. Everybody like, how you don't know this your so-called partner? How you don't know he's scamming? Y'all been doing this forever. You complacent then. That mean you complacent. That mean you are complacent, my brothers and sisters. I got to get out of here. I got 10 more minutes. But look at this. Life, liberty, and a false imprisonment. You need to know this. I'm telling y'all, it's only one more science. It's only one law. It's only one history. We should be able to have discussion, especially people that done came in more science in the last 5 years since the cocoa, since you've been sitting at home watching all these people in videos, even the brother, and I'm just using it as speaking pieces with all due respect to the brother Polite. All these brothers talk about they nationalize. Look, they all reinvented themselves. I told people would destroy themselves when you put money before things. Also, even the conscious community, that energy, all these brothers arguing over something, and all of them have some of the same teachers. They say they love Dr. Ben and all this. Okay, well, Dr. Ben talks like I do. Research Dr. Ben video, Christianity in Africa, the connection. And then these people don't be telling you their connections because I know about Dr. York. They know about Dr. York. All elders know about the wisdom of Dr. York. That's why when you ask them about certain tablets, Dr. York was a Moor. He gave credit to our Noble Draw Ali. But we come from amongst a whole bunch of religious dogma, and he knew something. But he was corrupted absolutely. I'm not saying if he's guilty or whatever, but I know a lot of people recant in these cases. But the point, what I'm saying today, as a sheep, as a map and a guide, as a shaman, as a person that is not afraid to lead the way and stand tall and say, okay, well, if that's what it is, prove it. Come with the science, come with the truth. If you say there's more science, come with our declaration and proclamation. Come with the ayats, with what prophet said. Come with a whole bunch of stuff that I have from the truth, not with no books nobody rewritten telling you to go get some marriage license just because this is some book. With somebody on the cover with holding the empress on it. Then just because that book say that, and then I go get a document that's older than what these brothers wrote and tell you that you don't go to no goddamn get no marriage license. Our prophet ain't told nobody to go get no marriage license. For what? That's a third party contract. Why would you go get a marriage license and our religious laws trump that? Why would you go get a marriage license and bring somebody in your contract? See, that means you buying your wife, and our prophet didn't say that. I'm telling you, and everybody know it, but then you got a group of Moors that say that bull crap, and the prophet say, well, after you do this, then you go get a marriage license. That's cap. That's cap. And that's what I'm telling you. People don't want to stand true to things. Why? Because our prophet said brothers will lead us back into what? Prison. In all type of ways. You got all these people on the internet at one point telling about this your Moorish American ID. And they said they were sheiks in Moorish Science Temple of America. Well, if that's the case, there's only one Moorish Science Temple of America. And I showed you my paperwork from the temple. And that don't mean that I'm right. But what I'm saying, if you're from the temple and you've been taught a certain way of the structure, no matter if you go into academia and all that or whatever, XYZ, but in all different walks of life, ETC, written books like I have and it's still, you're going to teach the right way. You're going to teach the right way. If not, then you would drew off the line. If you can find a person with these people on these conscious communities with this radical stuff, then you have drawn a line. You fell off. If you promulgating that we some Islam Muslims, you fell off. If we some government sect, you fell off. If you talk about we got to create our own government, you wrong. You wrong. If you talk about you got to expatriate from this de facto government, you definitely wrong, and you definitely a fool. I tell all Moors, oh yeah, well I tell you more they want to expatriate from the de facto government. And I say, young puppy, in your wisdom, why in the heezy would you want to expatriate from the so-called de facto government, my Moorish brother? Then what country, state do you have affiliation with? I never thought about that. I know your stupid self ain't thought about that. That means you'll be a domestic terrorist, foreign and abroad. That means you go to the FEMA camp. Like, where do we be getting this rhetoric from? I'll be asking people, where do y'all get this stuff from? Because that's not, it's all false. So if I can easily destroy this stuff and then come with records and come with science, why would somebody still be on that same level as a Moor today promulgating this stuff and still feel a certain way about these things? Still teaching people some sovereign citizen, Roger Elvick, a criminal behavior, still riding around without license and registration and insurance. Why would you want to do that? And then people register their cars, but then say you don't have to do all this. Tell me what doing that is going to help your life. And tell me why would you take on all those things that's not going to do nothing for your life. Tell me why. And tell me why have that became attractive to you. Tell me why. Tell me why. No one can even explain that. Tell me why you think you can squat in a house. Tell me why you can go and just sit in the house and squat in the house. You don't even know who owns the house. You don't even know if it's property tax, anything. It's a way to be done. It's a way to do things the right way. If you want a property and it's in an urban neighborhood and it's been sitting, you go to the city hall, you see who own the house, you do the proper things to get the house on back taxes, whatever you need to do. But these people be squatting in houses in rich neighborhoods talking about you found a house. You ain't found nothing. You ain't found nothing. And this is stuff that we do. This is the stuff that we say is more science. That's sovereign citizen stupid stuff. We don't rock like that. We use our resources. No, Badr Ali ain't taught you nothing like that. No, nobody taught you no stuff like that but these people on the internet. And then I say, who teaching you that? And I tell you, it ain't more science. We ain't here to overthrow no government. We ain't here to flash our ID. We ain't here to talk that stupid stuff at work. Why? Because our Declaration and Proclamation says it. Our warning says that. That's why. This is what I tell people. Everything else is crap. So as I close, man, I just wanted to share that with y'all. If we ain't willing to have this conversation and build something strong, and every more got their own stupid ideology, then it's not more science. It can't be. That mean I don't know what it is. I could call it brothers with feathers on, criminal behavior, but it ain't more science. If anybody behavior and they talk about how to overthrow some government, that's not more science. That's sovereign citizen talk. If anybody talk about this your land, oh, that's sovereign citizen talk. They can talk about this is my domicile, sovereign citizen talk. They want you to get some whole bunch of paper, sovereign citizen talk. You got to expiate from this government, sovereign citizen talk. I'm telling you. And that's what happened to these brothers. And when they say they family and this don't like them or they job this, because you sovereign citizen talking. You talking that Roger Elvick shit, excuse my candor, everywhere you go. That's why your life is in shambles. And you got to tell the truth. I'll be telling people, just tell the truth. And that'll help us out. That'll help us out. Why? Because we know we done got excited watching a whole bunch of videos, sitting up all night and some shit consuming you, and you don't listen to some stuff and got a Jedi mind trick played on you. You want to read a whole bunch of books and the mapping guide is telling you, calm down, young pup. You got to have application and wisdom as well. And this is what happens to brothers. And they get destroyed. How? With being consumed. I'm telling you, I can name so many brothers out that's consumed. They done came through here in and out, and I tell people what's gonna happen beforehand, how come I can see it in your eye. I'll give you exactly what you're looking for, and then what did it do? It will consume you. That's what it does. And I've been telling people this since 2000 came out. Since all these conscious communities, everybody would follow these gurus with all of misnomer Black Wall Street. Everybody that know me, I said, man, these people know me. I fly everywhere on my own dime. I told y'all what's gonna happen to play. I told y'all to play off the top. I knew it. I said, oh, it's a money grab. And what happened? Boom, didn't it? Didn't it happen? I know it's facts, Moso, my mufti on my Facebook page. I know it's facts. I said, I see the game. Even with the brother that was within the Nation of Islam, the young brother. Y'all know. I said, I don't care how they talk soft like that. Come on my page. I'm going to show you a liar, and I'm going to show you where you got all that fugazi stuff. And I'm going to show you what payola is. That's all that they did to the people. These people ain't have no land. These people ain't have no 400 acres. No goddamn McDonald never farms. You know, they ain't call it that, but I'm just saying, they ain't have none of that. They defrauded the whole people. Because if you were the Nation of Islam, you got people. They defrauded the people. Got with them scissor cutting, went to Home Depot, got a damn tool shed, did a whole scissor cutting, raised the money. Where the McDonald farms at? See, can't nobody be mad at me. This is what I be telling people. Y'all didn't see this play? All this so-called Ponzi scheme or pyramid scheme, and I told y'all the play, and people be mad. Yeah, what you say, Maso? Where they all at now? What have they developed for their own? Nothing. All the things that they were selling to people during the so-called pandemic. Where it's at now? It was a whole trick. And even the women that be with these people, they done separate. I said, man, you just as stupid too, because you was with the shiggity. I just broke it down in law. How? You with the shiggity going down with the scam, and then when the scam over or somebody you don't like what they doing, you break up and then you illuminate and then you expose the scam. It was all fake for the day one, and then you try to do your own thing. That's why I be telling y'all. I be like, man, y'all don't see this? They think we stupid. This stuff be crazy. Oh man, hey. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. They done threw a wool over our eyes. They done got us caught up in characters and not solution. People raise money and have the lectures to put in their pocket. See, it's easy. It's almost like what I call influencer. All my muftis got the book. See, these brothers done studied this. So they got the play from Jay Morrison. And when they, all those brothers went in the houses thing, a lot of them took the play and took it in other avenues. I'm telling you what I know, no disrespect. They done studied this stuff. It's a book called The Influencer. I'm telling you. So it's always playing on you. If you ain't doing this, that's why what's happening. I know this is what's happening. Who you say JT Watcher? Yeah, JT Pocket Watchers. Yep, he sure did. Moso, he exposed all this. And everybody talk about he a hater, hating on people money. How can this man be a hater, hating on people money, and you making videos and telling people this is how it go? And it's false. And it's false. And nobody can't come and sue that. Well, okay, well, that's the case. Anything you put out there, we can talk about it. Why? Because this is a damn law, which is the copyright law that protect us when we using things for education and scientific purposes. So if you want to say something or anything about that, you gonna lose again. It can't be defamation of character if it can't be proven that it's false. So you can't sue for no defamation of character. If what? The stuff can be proven true, and everything we talk about can be proven true. It's fugazi. I'm telling you, people can be mad all they want to. They can be mad. Y'all don't be seeing the Jedi mind trick came when the one brother came. What's the brother that got ate up by the little young European Christian when he was talking about trying to reference some book? What's the dude that they used to be on the internet and TikTok all day, and all the Negroes like, oh, he's so heavy. He talking about the Anunnaki, some alien. What's his name? What's the brother name? Come on, man. Y'all know. Come on, man. Come on, somebody give it to me. Damn, what's the brother name, man? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Somebody give it to me. Somebody give me the name. Yeah, Carson. Yep, Carson. And that ain't even him. I went to Harvard. I said, well, the Ben Carson I know, yeah, Billy Carson. The Billy Carson that I know, it's not you. And you know, and everything is fake. And then him and the other dude had him on there like, yeah, he's the heaviest thinker in the world. He got to do all this and all this. And how? And it's all fake. And then you get destroyed by a European graduate student. And I said, they won't come to me with that crap. It be our own community. This what I'll be talking about. Man, we can't talk about it. And we can't talk about it? Oh, I graduated from Harvard. No, you didn't. If I sit up here and say, oh yeah, man, I graduated from Clear University with a dual bachelor degree in business management with a minor in marketing and save a nonprofit business startup, and I got a dual master's degree from Grand Canyon University in first century history and religion and Christian leadership and Christian counseling, etc. And you can't look me up, and I say I'm this Goodman, I'm not him, and you look me up, you be like, this ain't him. You see, these people be lying because you ain't. And then, okay, and then the other young Muslim brother, y'all know who I'm talking about, that say the Never Farms. What's his name? I ain't got to say he came on my page. It was Quiet in the Mouse. This ain't no disrespect. He don't really expose nothing, LL. He just says what he saw on the wall. No, he ain't saw nothing on no wall. Brother, I'm trying to tell you, it's just like when they use Zechariah extension. Yeah, you ain't interpreting nothing on no wall. I'm telling you, the interpretation is wrong because I got all the tablets. If nobody don't know the language and have the alphabet, then we can think anything. I'm telling you. Well, I'm talking about scholarship, but no disrespect to what we think, But just like these other brothers, they say they had a video with a whole green screen to defraud their people, and it was on YouTube, talk about they got dual master's degrees and have the singer Tank on there with them. But then in the same breath, they be like, education don't mean nothing. But then you make a whole fugazi thing from Nigeria with this fake stuff and have a green screen like you just got I got a dual master's degree in Christian history and a dual master's degree in business. And then Tank on there with you. That's just like that ICDC college stuff. And we can't talk about it. We can't talk about the stuff, huh? We can't talk about none of this stuff. I told you I've been around too long and traveled too much. Yeah, thank you. Contradictory as hell. Real talk. And we can't talk about this? Oh, that's sad. Any of my movies that come on my YouTube page, one of the brothers jumped on my page one day. And I said, I hope you don't come on my page talking crap. Because everybody know me. I'm an elder. I fly anywhere. at any time. I flew to Vegas one day when a brother that used to be in the conscious community, he in jail, popped up right there. Boom, he drove past me 13,000 times. I said, if you teaching classes, I want to come take the class. When you'll be in Vegas, well, I'm teaching class in Vegas at this hotel on this floor. Boom, I'll be there when? Tonight. I took a red eye Zoom. I know it's fake. Because if you teaching all these classes, I don't got to get all these fake testimonies where I know you got them from. I'll show you real classes. Because I can teach online. I'll show you real students. I know the scam. They people can't be mad at me. I know what they study for the scam. I'll show you the taste what they studied for the scam. They know I'm telling the truth. And you can't hide behind no religion when you scam your people. You can't. It's payola. Research what payola is. And that's what happened. The Negroes act like they got some dual master degree. From where? From where? With quad in the church mouse. That's what they do. They act like they got some degree from somewhere. And then all those people that talk about they doing this or they've done this with the houses game, you will see they so-called bio, it'd be a whole bunch of awards from stuff you ain't never heard of in your freaking life. Nobody heard. It's all fugazi. Research what payola is. You tell me. Pull it up. You got the time. This is how I teach. Research. Pull up payola. And then you, right there, why you right there? You got time. I got time. I tell people, I know the scam. And all of them went through this. They all went through the same organization. They be looking for, and they look for social influencers. I just told you it's a book called The Influencer. You know? It's called The Price of Bribing Someone to Use Their Influence or Position to Promote a Particular Product or Interest. Promote a particular product or interest. What they promoting? A Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme. They use those religious Negroes when you see it to promote a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme. This is what I be telling you. I went to school for this stuff. I see it right out. And then when they be like, well, when the Muslim dude heard of me, somebody was like, yeah, he got his own page. He had his own YouTube page because a dude that was a Muslim dude that I already knew was rocking with me. He was like, well, I'm gonna have him come. And I said, I hope he come in here and shut up. He sat down and ain't say one word the whole time. Because they know I know. That's what it all is. It's payola. And they get with these certain Ponzi and pyramid schemes, these so-called marketing companies that have put this position, and it ain't nothing but you got to get this person to get this person. It's like a pyramid scheme or a scam or a Ponzi scheme, and you promote that stuff. Somebody always getting paid, which is fugazi. It ain't registered on the SEC, and they use those people to promote it. Why? Because they know they got what? Influence. They know they got thousands or millions of followers. So boom, they'll lose their integrity and go by all their religious stuff that they say, and Elijah Muhammad told me this and all this crap, and sell you out for what? Pennies. And then when the game is played, boom, they got to reinvent themselves. And they come right back out with the same stupid stuff. And we fall for it. Well, you know, this is what people do. Well, you know, this, it's the same game. It's the same game. You were part of the so-called, what? What was they called? The Black Wall Street? That's what they called themselves, the Black Wall Street? Remember that? Watch JT Pocket Watchers. That's why I be telling y'all. It's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game. I've been around all my life. I'm 48 years young in January. I've been around all day. I'll pull out all that. I'll expose it. I get houses. I know how to buy houses in the city of Flint. I'll show you how to buy houses. I ain't no gatekeeper. I'll give you the whole list from Land Bank. And if you got your crew, your team, that people that know how to do the electro and get all the house up to code, then great. Then you do that. And you can change the community, which I'm showing people with our tax dollars that we're giving the government. See, I'm showing you real things. I ain't telling you to give me no money and make all this fugazi, fake ass shit up. I can show you how to do it because we doing it. And the person that say they can do something, take all the risk. You got to be able to show something. Just like if I say, man, we can get 10 acres. We have 10 acres. I can show you how to get 10 acres. A workman that's due is higher. It's a finder's fee. But we only give people money when we in trouble. We look at it like we in trouble now. We can build our community. This is what I'm saying. We've been lied to by our own people. And then they reinvent themselves, and we get mad at the people that expose the stuff. But when we get the power, we do the same thing that the so-called powers that be did to us. When brothers get the power to have record companies, they did the same thing as the so-called Jews did to you. This is what I'm saying. And then we be okay with it. These people be coming together, hustling you. I'm telling you. And if they come at me, they know I don't play that. I'm telling you, people done, they sit down, be renting these fake ass jets when they nothing but a prop place. I'm telling you, I'll show you where the stuff at. What person gonna always take a person that's real rich, always doing an interview in the fucking jet? Excuse my candor. It's a prop building. I know where it's at. I know where all this stuff at. That's why I be telling y'all, I say you can't fall for that. They caught us up. And then it happens in the churches. How? You see these pastors at these mega churches. I told y'all this is an old scam. You see these pastors come in and into these mega churches and they bring these scammers in. Like the pastor down there where Morrison at. Listen what did that man preach. It was like he was doing a goddamn a PowerPoint presentation. All this stuff, they be in cahoots together because they think we stupid. And when somebody stand up in the midst of this and say, you don't see this? What, the scam? They can't run the scam on nobody else. The scam got to be ran on people that look like you. They call you stupid. And I can even tell you what's happening in my city of Flint. It's even worse. This what I'm telling us. This is what we came to. And we can't even clean our own house up. And these people still standing tall with their chest out. It's people that done sold you out. It's people that be in behind, no disrespect. Talk the white man is this, the white man is that. But then at the same time, you dealing with Dianetics and you dealing with Ron L. Hubbard. In the same breath. In the same breath. In the same breath. And then when you was young, you was in it as well, your whole family. This is what I be telling people. And then a lot of people be Freemasons. Oh, but we can't talk about this. We already got to talk some white man. Get out of here. You damn right. Watch your grandma struggle, yet they get money with no return. Yeah. And I've been showing people this, my brother. I've been on here for a minute. But I've been showing people peace on God, how things can be done the right way. I've been showing people this, Europeans that I went to college with, they done went back to their cities and to Denver and Washington and took these skills and run their communities. I told us we can build our community up in our temple, in our school, in our libraries with what? The money we giving Uncle Sam. What? The tax dollars that we giving Uncle Sam, we got the right to donate it to our religious and charitable contribution of our choice and hold me accountable. Because ain't nobody donating no $4 million to me. Then when people be saying this, well, I said, that ain't happening to me. I ain't telling our people to take our kids out of schools. I'm saying we need our temple and our school and our library to have something for we can have a choice. So when school is over, they can come here. And as we grow to that, we can get those things. And as people see what I'm doing, and what the Holy Spirit is doing in all of us, we can see how the money that we give Uncle Sam willingly, which we have the right, to donate to our religious and charitable contribution of our choice and get a taxes in receipt. Why? Because we taxes in for the federal government, religious, charitable, scientifically, educational-wise, donation-wise. That's why. And the laws say that. And if we don't know who we are, and if we don't know how to use our money, we're going to give it to a private banking system. And it sits. And I'm a private banking system. I tell people they don't watch Sopranos and don't know everything went through the church. I done told you black has no standing in law. And then you hear these people in these conscious communities talk about, yeah, we know the law, we black. That should be stupid. That's an oxymoron. Black has no standing in law. It's silver mortis. Black wasn't even used to describe ethnicity in the first century. This is science. So how can you disagree with what I'm saying? You can't. So that means you got a motive. And these people had a motive. How? Because they all was together. When they used the Billy Carson dude with the dude that called himself 14 million keys. This is no slander. I'm just putting the picture in front of your face. What people send me. Oh, he talked about the dude Carson. He's the greatest thinker in this, and he did this, and well, clearly that's been proven false. How? Because your whole rhetoric was destroyed by a European low-level student that was talking about the Stupid Septica and other little books that I easily illuminate those little Christian students that I don't care if you're going for a PhD, it'll be threw away. So peace mufti Maso. So this is what I'll be telling people. Man, as I close, because I can go all day, I want people to please subscribe to our Temple and School YouTube page at the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. I want our brothers and sisters to support us. And when you get your books or your ebooks and things, to please get with us or hit me up, because I have it all. We don't have to make other platforms successful. I just showed y'all Moso. I just showed them the other book, Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. by Charles A. Wiseman. It's $500. This is the stuff they teach on Harvard campus. I want us to freak with us. I want us to build our school. So we made Jeff Bezos successful over books. I have the same things, and I have a lot of stuff that they don't have. And once funds start coming in, and once our brothers and sisters use me as a source, once my brothers and sisters start using mypdfbooks.com with a Z, bindingbooks.com, hit me up using my phone and my email to say, hey, Sheik, I'm trying to get this. Do you got this ebook? Or can you print it and bind it? Yep. You know, going to Moorish Haberdashery, getting all your Moorish American regalia. Once those funds come in, boom, we brick and mortar. This is the power that we have. How? Because we're giving it away. And nobody's teaching this, and people are using it. The Jewish church is using it. My professor, that's a potentate, that's a Jewish professor. He said, yeah, we operate off 100% donations. And now we get grants. We give everybody a tax-exempt receipt. Everybody's making a different form of money. They say they Jews, they split their money 3 ways. They operate in tax-exempt for the federal government. Religious, charitable, scientific, education-wise, charitable, the same way we can. And they decipher the money that they giving Uncle Sam to their religious organization of their choice. You know? So this, what I'll be telling people, and the power and the dynamics of what we do and what we have, when people always say the white man this. No, social media used in the right way with all these brothers that look like you has confused you. And if these brothers have a clear conversation, all that rhetoric will be destroyed in 1.2 seconds. They talked about Bitcoin and put all your money in Bitcoin. Why the hell would you do that? Bitcoin ain't backed by nothing. Bitcoin ain't backed by no gold. Some people, or I would tell you that, because if you got some money, you can buy some Bitcoin or you can buy some gold. I would tell you, yeah, to diversify your portfolio, but I wouldn't tell you to put all your money in some Bitcoin. And then when shit crash, you look stupid. You ain't paying bills and things with Bitcoins. Every place ain't accepting that. So when people come with rhetoric, they be having what? Motive. Just like I told you again, the keys got at least the 100 million keys and a Carson dude, they were promulgating some Bitcoin, and like they professionals of Bitcoin, selling all this type of stuff. This is what I be telling people. I said, don't get mad at me. These people was, hey, invest in this, invest in this. Now all of a sudden they master investors in Bitcoin. All of a sudden, you just pop out the goddamn woo-hoo and you now a master investor in Bitcoin. Like that stuff be crazy. And that's what I be telling people. But they only do that to poor people. Because this was prosperous. You don't got to deal with no people that can barely pay their rent. You take that to a community that understand, and you let everybody know the assumption of risk. You know? That's all I tell them. I say, open your portfolio. It's gonna be Fuji dust. They'll tell you, oh, open this account. Say you make this much money, get this much money, but then you gotta pay them. Well, I gotta pay you on some money that I gotta pay back. You done showed me how to defend. You done showed me how to break the law on an X amount of money. Now the money that I got from breaking the law, I gotta give you a percentage of the money that you showed me how to break the law. But then I gotta pay all of it back. Because the money that I paid you came from the money that you showed me how to break the law. But I gotta pay all the money back. Oh man, the game is to be sold, not told. That's why I be saying, I bet they won't come to me with that crap. I go way deeper with all them fake stats, with all them fake diagrams and all that stuff. I say, y'all don't know how to read it. I do. I know how to read it. I know how to read the graphs and things. I'm telling you, it's all fake. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's all fugazi. Because if you're a real investor in housing, if you got it like that, you accepting all the risk at first. Why? Because you do it. You got the bag. You showing people. You like, okay, well now, especially if you got a crew, you want people to invest. Why? To get this and we can flip it. Or you can get it for yourself. But if my investors, if my crew gonna fix it, this is what it's gonna cost for us to fix it. We gonna help you. But these is the keys. This ain't to hustle nobody. It ain't. I don't have no hustle. That's why I say it takes longer for me to do it the right way. That's why I can talk this all day long. And everybody that's operating the right way, all these people and real people in life, they'll be like, yep, that man telling you the truth. He'll like, yeah, y'all can do something with y'all money you giving Uncle Sam. That's diverted to your religious and charitable contribution of your choice. Get a tax-exempt receipt. Y'all have infrastructure just like that. Everything that I'm saying is factual, and I ain't said nothing about no so-called white man. I just showed you everything about us and these people with these religions or in the conscious community trying to scam you. Always. And they always bring that community, and it's still happening today. It's still happening today. It's just coming back around as she go. because everything go in a circle. But I'm gonna be right here, and I tell people, ask me anything. It might hurt your heart because some of your people that you might believe in or feel so passionate about has exposed themselves as liars. Ask them where the money at. Ask all these people where all the money at. Ask them where the land, the Never Farms at. Ask all these people where it's at. After you done took all these people courses and all that, what's happened? Because the thing is to keep you paying. That's why I be telling you, ain't nobody got no whole bunch of money trying to scam you out of no $100 a month or a couple change. The whole thing is a pyramid scheme, the Ponzi scheme, what? To keep this rolling in. That's why I keep telling you, because the person that's really rocking and rolling, man, well, I ain't worried about that unless I'm a petty hustler. And that's what's happening to people. You getting petty hustle. I keep telling people how you getting petty hustle because you still think $1 is going to make you free. They still think it's like a religion going to make them free. And I tell people it's coming together. It's education. It's using our tax dollars. It's building infrastructure. It's bartering. It's doing products. It's doing business with us. It's having our dollars circulate in our community instead of leaving. That's what it's about. It's about having our gardens and our own drinks. Like my noble Mosso got his own herb company. Herbs in my eye. We got our own teas, cold press, package. We got our own company where we sell our regalia, our clothing. That's how the money circulate. So you can say, hey man, the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School, that whole entity, man, is a multi-million-dollar operation. Look at their big campus. Now you can say, yeah, they got an elementary school and a middle school and a high school. How? From the people. Now we see a change. Now we see the growth. Just like CCV out here. It's a big ass campus, Church of Valley of the Christ, whatever. Big as hell, campus, excuse my candor. Got stores and everything in there. This is what I'm saying we can do. But when we get these people that come to our community to suck and disappear. Like we had a brother that came to our city of Flint that said he was going to open a school. Y'all know the brother ain't opened a school yet. Came and lectured and all them Negroes went and showed up like some groupies. Collected money and left. This is what I be telling people. It's like, man, what's wrong with us? And then one of my professors was like, but you right there in the city and have done all this. He was like, you got to go somewhere else because a prophet and an angel is no good in his own country. So they're going to see us do this in St. Louis and other places. And this is what I tell people. Once it pop up, once everybody understand that everybody can help this, it's over. Once we get all the falseness out of us, once we able to have those conversations, once everybody get all that stuff out of them with that they heard, where you can sit down and have a real conversation with a person that's going to answer it sincerely, not going to give you no belief system. That's the only way. And then we have to see what's up with it. Because if we're going to let people overtalk us and call themselves grand sheiks and they lying, what's wrong with us? And I'm telling you all that stuff. I don't care if they call themselves some grand sheik, the people's grand sheik, all that rhetoric, all that stuff is BS, and they know it is. Ain't nobody here, no consulate general of Morocco. Ain't nobody over here, no freaking president of Morocco. Can't nobody nationalize you or denationalize you. It'll change you from the descendant nature of your foremothers or forefathers. You ain't no stupid ass sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron. If you expatriate from this de facto government, you are what? Domestic terrorist, foreign and abroad. Any other questions? Any other questions? Because we out of here. Any other questions? Anything else is uncivilized. Research Roger Elvig. And that's what these Negroes is doing. And you know it. Research the Paradigm Group. That's what is happening in our community. And then you ask yourself, is that more science? Nope. So everybody that's doing that stuff, which I said, which is that European Albion Trinidad bullcrap, overthrowing the government, anybody that's doing that, any language, that's where it's coming from. Because clearly it's not more science. I done cleared it all up. It ain't nothing else I can say. It ain't nothing else I can say. So I hope everybody feel okay, because the only one that's putting us in the burning house is the only people that look like you. The only people that'll sell you out is your brothers and sisters that did that payola, that done sat down and came up with a scam with this conscious community, all this stuff to bring all these people together. Because remember, all of them was together. I can show y'all so much stuff, man. Y'all be like, damn, Sheik, how you know? I just told y'all. I've been around all this time. I travel. These people be acting like they don't know each other. Then I put a tape in when both of them brothers giving each other credit. And then both of them brothers get on video. One of the brothers from Canada, the other brother called himself the Traveling More. And I'll show you a video. These Negroes so stupid that they both got them on the page when they introducing each other. They know each other. But then in the same breath, one of the brothers say, I don't even know the brother. I ain't even met the brother. But then I put the tape in with Eddie Murphy ex-wife, where she on it, where she talking some stupid stuff, how she thinks she finna claim some more science to get some money from Deion Sanders. See, they be mad. I know this. That's the rhetoric. because these Negroes want to be famous. I'm telling you, it's just like that Charleston White thing. The Charleston White, at least, this is why I respect Charleston White, because he told Negroes what he was gonna do. He got a background to help. He said, okay, I'm gonna do the reverse. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna tell you what to do. He told people what he was gonna do. White people mad at what that meant. He told you what he was gonna do. So he ain't no liar. How? Because he told you what he was gonna do. And he said, watch people fall for it. Boom. And I said, I can't do that. I'm not violating my integrity to be on social media and go viral and make money on social media like that. I'm not doing that. I don't need it like that. I'm gonna get it the right way and leave a mark on society and leave a mark in real life with real people. All that stuff starts, it disappears. They call that, excuse me, niggerdom. They call that, excuse my candor, nigger shit. Excuse my candor. That'll be remembered for that. So what a person can make some money, that's meaningless to me. Integrity, the mission for our people is something. And say in the midst of you doing that niggerly stuff, and if your mission was the liberation for the kids, and say you making great money now, which the individuals say they making money. So if that's the case, if I'm making money, before I was doing it, I wasn't making no money. Now, the money that I'm making, acting a damn fool, I could do a lot of the great work that I wanted to do when I ain't had the bag, when I was trying to get people to help donate to the bag. So now I can say this character that I created has allowed me to do what? Now I'm going to take some of this bread and build me a community center right in my neighborhood and teach the kids in the midst of this and still talk this stupid shit. Why? Because that's my character. Just like a lot of people are characters in their real damn life. Some straight up characters. You see them every day on the internet with these fake ass fictitious names. You see what I'm saying, family? It's just like that. So with that being said, man, I really, really hope our fans support us and support our temple and school. Hit me up. I have a full library. My email is Goodman, GOODMAN, KHARY @gmail.com. My office number is 602-473-8767. We after hours right now, so please just email me or send me a text. But I have a full library. I have books that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And my Mufti on here is on my YouTube channel as well. He can attest to what I'm saying. I have a gift and I have a lot to share with people. I've done lectures with professors, and I never debate no one that should be a student. All I debate is my equals, and I never debate no one. I never debate my brothers because they all know this. We dealing with a lot of people with the lower energy of scam energy. And that's lower energy because there's nothing wrong with making money. Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 19, wine is made for laughter, but money trumps all. But we're not here to hustle our people. We're here to show our people that we can educate them, and the money that we working, that we all working, that we giving to Uncle Sam and we getting a tax return, we can divert it to a real cause and really do some infrastructure and show people like, hey man, I met a brother and I met a group of people of muftis and educators from all backs of life. They doing some real work. These brothers done built a library right in their temple. They got a school, they got a gym, they got computer lab. They show kids how to make clothing. They got a whole damn agriculture, a garden. The Mufti showed them how to make teas and all this stuff. All these things, know how to do music. We have studio. Kids want to do music and all this. Show them how to edit their music. If you want to write and edit and produce your own literature. This is all that comes with us. Not a scam. Not using brothers to come out. And even today, y'all can go on TikTok and all these things and see all these brothers talk about, oh, you can file this piece of paperwork and do this. And then ask them, okay, let me see what you've done. All the stuff these people telling you, why they ain't done it. Because if they done it, then they wouldn't be telling you about it. Ain't nobody, if they done made millions off of it, I'm not finna flood the market. If I'm a multi-million dollars in the stock market, I'm not teaching you how to do something I've done, then why? That means all y'all gonna have some of my money. There you go, you know it's a scam. All this stuff is fugazi, especially these brothers, they get dressed up and they get behind a video and it's all copy and paste. It's all rhetoric. It's all rhetoric. I told you where that stuff came from. Ask them and say, okay, well, let me see the stuff that you're telling me that I can do. All you got to do is say, let me see, have you done it? And then they're going to be quiet. Because if you're saying I can do all this stuff, why haven't you done it? You telling me you can do this, you got the right to. Well, you should have everything that you telling me I can get. You should have all the millions. If my social security number is attached to some millions, you should have all the millions too. Why? Because you got a social security number. If I can file this and get this off and get this bill, you should show me. Show me the real cases, not you getting arrested and have to pay. Show me the real cases where you've won. You ain't gonna find none, because I'll pull up all their cases with their names and show you that they lost. I told y'all this stuff be free information, and I know these people real names, and they be butthurt. They be butthurt when I come with the facts. I say, dude, it's all fugazi once again. Any questions? I hope it ain't no questions. Any books, any wisdom, anything y'all can talk about, I have it. Please support our temple and school. You know what I mean? Become a student. Any questions that you may have. You know, we have a question and an answer. We do this every Friday at book club. I try to come on here through the week and enlighten y'all. You know, I'm building my database, but all this is going to be over real soon is because I want it to be. And I want brothers to come to the next level with us, because we are trying to build our community. We're trying to build our private community, which we have. You know, and I'm trying to bring everybody to our Zoom where we can talk about things, ideas, and it's crowdfunding. We're using our money that's tax exempt for the federal government, religious, charitable, scientific, education, and charitable wise. And we don't have to just be on here talking to everybody. We can have our private place to do these things. And that's what I'm telling us. A lot of times we talk too much because we don't do things privately. And right now I'm telling y'all, man, let's do something. I love y'all, man. Let's resurrect ourselves with wisdom and understanding. And anything you need, I gave y'all my information. Subscribe to our Temple and School YouTube page. And please don't hesitate to do business with us, to court with us. Don't be a spectator, be a participator. Get some books, get some wisdom. Hit me up. I'll give you packages with the ebooks because I'm the source. Hit me up. Hit me up. Let's do some business together. Let me help you build your library. Get a fez from me. Buy a turban from me. Buy a kufi from me. I'll give you extras. Nobody doing that. I can do that. And that's what I'm saying. Hit me up and let's do business. I love y'all, man. Peace and light.